and welcome to I Can't Believe This Got Greenlit 2, the Summer of Sequels, a show where we discuss sequels from our childhood, our nostalgia from watching them as kids, how these franchises got made yet again, and our experiences rewatching them as adults. I am one of your hosts, Nick Warner, and joining me as always, Matthew Pelton.
Hello!
Happy summer.
Happy sequel summer.
Happy sequel summer.
Now, I have a question about how this whole sequel thing works.
We are going to talk about it, but yes.
Yeah, because it's the first time we're doing it.
Yes.
And for people who don't know, Nick runs the show.
Yes.
I just kind of sit here. That's about it.
Okay.
So when you were like, let's do a summer of sequels, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck that means, but sure, I trust you. So if we're doing sequels, and this is Greenlit 2.
Yes.
Am I Pelton 2?
I was going to include that, and then I was like, that'll get old really quick.
I know, right?
So I was like, we can't be like the second versions of our set, like Nick Warner the second, because that's not real. I don't know.
Well, I mean, like, okay, this is still under the umbrella of Greenlit. It's not like we're putting it in a different thing. Like this, you could argue this isn't real either.
That's true, but we also... we introduced the summer sessions as just the summer sessions. It was never like, I can't believe it's got Greenlit, the summer session.
You know what's really bad about our summer sessions catastrophe?
Okay.
Is that Nick did the intro for summer sessions, which we did, 2 years ago at this point?
Yeah, I think so.
And it was just like Greenlit, but it was just over the summer. That's like the whole gimmick of it. So you changed the intro to something way more convoluted.
Yes.
And then on podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, it's all under I Can't Believe It's Got Greenlit. It's not listed as a separate thing. But for some reason...
Oh, is it
when
IMDb?
When I did the IMDb, I put it as its own project. Because IMDb wouldn't let me attach it because it's a different name.
Interesting.
So now if you look up I Can't Believe It's Got Greenlit on IMDb, I think bizarrely Summer Sessions shows up first.
Oh, interesting.
And it just looks like a dead show.
That's so interesting. Like, we did it for one summer and called it a day.
Yeah, and then we just call this one summer, and then we're like, all right, we're done.
And then all those episodes don't exist in the I Can't Believe It's Got Greenlit universe.
No.
So when we reference them, and now we're doing sequels on a lot of them, they just don't matter. It makes no sense in the context of
no
our show.
sense.
But that's on IMDb. How many people are going to IMDb for our show?
Many, thank you very much. They're looking up Matthew Pelton on IMDb.
But, I feel like most people that know the show are going to Spotify and Apple, where it truly lives, and YouTube and all that stuff.
Okay,
so,
that might be true.
But,
okay, before we move to Hoodwinked.
Yes.
Because we are covering Hoodwinked 2, and I'm so excited.
Yes.
But for Summer of Sequels, I want to officially ask you right now. Should I put it under Greenlit on IMDb or Greenlit Summer Sessions?
Do Greenlit, because the show is I Can't Believe This Got Greenlit, colon. The Summer of Sequels.
So wait. Is it? This is so complicated. I don't know why we chose to do this. Is it I Can't Believe This Got Greenlit 2, the Summer Sequels?
For the intro, it's 2. But for the podcast, it's
not.
It's just what it is.
Why did we do this? Hey, you know how we should grow our show? Let's make it the most convoluted show on Earth.
Exactly. So yes, for the purposes of the intro, for the bit, I'm going to keep calling it I Can't Believe This Got Greenlit 2. For the poster, same deal. For the actual show title, to not confuse people as to our show ended just out of nowhere in May.
Even though I'm confused.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
It's just called I Can't Believe This Got Greenlit, the Summer of Sequels. We're here. We're talking sequels.
All right. I'm just going to let you do your thing. I don't quite follow. I never really do, though.
I'll cover this episode. No worries.
Thank you.
And you can stay on the line, but you can just think about the show. You can just think about the title, think about how it all works, and then at the end we'll do a little check-in once I'm done talking for the next hour and a half, and then you can tell me what you've come up with. How does that sound?
I don't really like thinking about the show. I try not to.
Okay, fair enough. Then let's spend our time thinking about the movie at hand today. The 2011 film Hoodwinked 2. Now, before we get into childhood stories, I do just want to say for the summer sequels as a whole, we are covering movies that we've covered in the past. We're covering their sequels, as the name suggests. And these are movies that either had a significant impact on us that we really want to cover the sequel or kind of dive a little bit deeper into the franchise. Or ones where, they're so bad that we're like, oh God, they have a sequel. Let's figure this out. How is this even possible?
Sure.
So this one, I am gonna take the reins on this because I have some explaining to do.
Yeah, you got some apologies to make here.
I have some apologies to make because I re-listened to our Hoodwinked episode, which came out, some years ago. I don't
Was
even
it
know
summer
at this point.
sequels? I'm gonna be so mad.
Summer sessions?
Fucking Jesus Christ.
I think it was potentially, yes.
Oh, it was? Okay, so we're back.
It was just the two of us, and we didn't have a guest, and I ragged on that movie the entire episode.
Yeah,
like
it was
an
fucked
hour
up.
and a half of me just dunking left and right. And now, what I learned from the episode, aside from me just shitting all over it, is I had two major takeaways. The one was that the visuals of it are really the reason why I didn't like it. It just didn't look good. And I'll get to me rewatching it in a moment. But then the other one was on the positive side. I really did enjoy some of the bits that they were going through, like a few of the songs, a few of like the character interactions, specifically Patrick Warburton as Wolf W. Wolf. I loved his character. I loved like the kind of noir setup and some of the like ways that they go about like connecting the stories together. I did really like that. But again, like the visual style of it and just some of the pacing things, it just really wasn't working for me. And I will say, going into the episode, I listening back, I expressed how exhausted I was while not only watching the movie but also recording the episode. And
oh, really?
And I have to admit, now in a much more awake and aware sense,
thank you,
on this episode, after rewatching Hoodwinked again in preparation, as well as Hoodwinked 2, which we'll get to, I take back a lot of what I said.
Yeah, fucking finally, dude.
Because while I still think the visuals don't hold up,
disagree.
And, and this is also part of the reason why we're doing the summer sequels, is because now we have a frame of reference to compare it to when they actually did have the budget to update the visuals, get a little bit of, funding towards that. After watching Hoodwinked 2, I kind of missed the visuals from Hoodwinked 1.
Yes!
And
dude, I had
again,
the same thought.
From an objective point of view, I still think it doesn't look great. But knowing their budget and knowing the limitations and the things that they overcame to make this thing work, I have to respect the hell out of it. And it just comes into this weird little nook in our childhood of like, yes, that is what low budget animation looked like at the time. And while it's not the best, there is a bit of nostalgia there. And it is okay. And going to like the story side of things, I think the twist really works. Again, a lot of this is also in comparison to Hoodwinked 2, but the twist really works. The story setup really works. The characters are really lovable. The songs are great. The humor is really great. So again, like a lot of the things I was saying on that episode, I now 3 years later fundamentally disagree with.
Yes.
So for anyone that listened to that episode or possibly didn't, now you know that my ideals on this have changed. I've come around to Hoodwinked, and it's not my favorite movie that we've covered, but it definitely is getting more points on my end than I initially gave it. So hats off to Hoodwinked.
Okay, so in prep for this, and also recap of our last episode, I rewatched Hoodwinked to make sure my thoughts were still consistent with 2 or 3 years ago. And I want you to know, one, I loved it just as much as I did before.
Sure.
And I literally wrote down, how does Nick not like this? What is not clicking here?
Yeah. Well, here we are. I like it.
I will say, rewatching the first Hoodwinked, I forgot, obviously I love this movie and I always defend it, and I defend the animation style so much because I do think there is a certain charm to that animation style.
Yes.
And it has nothing else kind of looks like that. Mm-hmm. You watch Hoodwinked and you're like, this is only Hoodwinked. It feels so distinctive. I think in terms of the world and the characters and the plot, it's such a creative expansion of a very famous couple of stories. Mm-hmm. It's a fun genre to put famous characters into, something you wouldn't expect. It's just so creative. It is so good.
For Hoodwinked 2, childhood stories. Had you ever seen the sequel? Was it just Hoodwinked? Did anything kind of click for you? Do you remember this movie at all?
No.
Okay, perfect.
It's weird because I was a big Hoodwinked guy, and I don't think I even knew there was a Hoodwinked 2 until we covered Hoodwinked on Greenlit.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know if you said it or I just looked it up and I found it.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck is that? And we're looking at it and I'm like, technically I know the animation style looks better, but like this isn't my Hoodwinked, man. I'm out.
Sure.
I'm out.
We'll get to the animation style in a moment. But for me, I went in only really remembering the marketing for this movie because they marketed the hell out of this, at least in my world. Whatever I was watching at the time, I kept seeing promotion for Hoodwinked 2. And I always remembered it because it was Hood versus Evil. And I thought that was like a funny little pun.
Okay.
And then rewatching it, I realized, oh, right, I do remember Giant Hansel and Gretel.
Oh, so you watched this?
Yes, 100%. I watched it a few times.
Oh,
and
shit.
I remember Giant Hansel and Gretel. I remember, like, obviously a lot of the characters because I had nostalgia around Hoodwinked. But I don't know if I watched it because I had watched the first one or if I potentially even watched this one first.
Oh, it was
because the marketing was so crazy that, I don't remember going into it being like, oh, I remember like Hoodwinked and therefore Hoodwinked 2. Yeah. I was just like, oh, Hoodwinked 2, this could be a good movie. And then I think I found out what Hoodwinked was and I went back. Potentially, maybe unconsciously, like it was just on.
Yeah, you might have Hoodwinked 2 first.
But it was interesting. Let's talk production. This movie was directed by Mike Disa, who was an animator on Hunchback of Notre Dame. Anyways, Mulan, Tarzan, Fantasia 2000, Atlantis: The Lost Empire, Treasure Planet, and Looney Tunes Back in Action.
Oh, no.
Among many others, and directed a few things, including this. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think it comes up later, but this potentially was his directorial debut.
Oh, no shit.
Which is interesting, because again, he's an animator on all these massive movies.
Well, so, okay, you're fucking Mr. Disney over there.
Yeah.
What was it, Fantasia 2000?
Yeah.
Is that good?
Do you want my personal opinion?
Sure.
It's fine.
Oh, fair enough.
So Fantasia came out in like, oh God, the 50s?
Yeah, it's old.
Around there. I don't know. It could be the 40s, could be the 50s, could be the 60s.
70s, 80s, 90s.
Exactly. 2000s, 2010s, 2020s. Anyways, Fantasia came out and that was wonderful because essentially have you ever seen Fantasia?
I've seen clips.
Okay, so essentially, I mean, the clips kind of speak for the whole movie. It's basically, the whole point of it was Walt Disney wanted to create a movie where animation basically exploring how animation can visualize music. So they had all these composers come in, or potentially they just got the rights to songs, but they played the music and they were like, okay, now we have the music. Now we're going to, use our animators
animate around it.
Exactly. And they're going to come up with visuals based on the music, which I think is super fun because, like when you go to an orchestra or whatever, you kind of visualize the music as it kind of plays out into a story. And sometimes they have like someone up there telling you the story of what it is, or sometimes it's kind of up for interpretation. And you kind of get the beats based on the music.
Okay, how often you go into orchestras?
I went to one very recently, which
what
was
the hell?
super fun.
It was the Lord of the Rings life of Nick. Oh yeah,
yeah.
You don't take the candlelight thing.
Yeah, exactly. So that's just fresh on the mind. That's why I brought it up. But just case in point of like they wanted to do that, but in a movie format where they could actually explore it in a visual animation.
It's a cool idea.
And I think there are like really, really great sequences in there, especially obviously the famous one, which is Sorcerer Apprentice Mickey.
Yeah.
With the water buckets and the
big
brooms.
little hat and all that.
Exactly. And then, you have a couple major ones in there. But then they remade it, Fantasia 2000. They wanted to do updated like visuals and some different songs. And they kept the Sorcerer Mickey one in there because it was so famous. But when it came out to like really mediocre reviews. And I watched it and I was like, it's okay. But like the first Fantasia, I personally like better. Just because of the stories. But again, it's very similar. And I think they have some great sequences. But overall, I'm just like, Fantasia's cooler.
Is it like, because it's Fantasia 2000. So is it like 2000s music? You know what I mean? Is it like Kesha and shit?
No. That'd be insane.
That'd be awesome.
No, it's still like classical orchestration, but it's just, I think they wanted to re-explore it because it is a thing you could theoretically do once every 10 years.
It's true.
And be like, hey, this is the new animation style. And we're still like, it's a really great concept, but it just didn't land with audiences. And
dude, Fantasia Hoodwinked. Imagine this animation style with Mickey.
Oh, God.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, awesome is a word.
Careful.
So screenplay for this was done by Todd Edwards, Corey Edwards, Tony Leach, and Mike Disa, which we will get to in a moment. This movie was edited by Tom Sanders, who did a lot of smaller animation editing, if you look up his IMDb, and Robert Anick, anyways, who edited a few things, but one to note is Wendell and Wild, which is Henry Selick's. I don't know if it's his most recent movie, but one of his most recent movies.
Okay.
Henry Selick, for those of you who don't know, director of James and the Giant Peach, Nightmare Before Christmas. He's a big animation stop motion guy. Potentially Coraline, or was that who was that?
I don't remember. I don't
Anyways,
know.
so music was done by Murray Gold, who did some work for Doctor Who, which I thought was interesting.
Ooh, that's kind of cool.
This movie was produced by Canbar Entertainment and distributed by the Weinstein Company.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Womp womp.
So now we're at the part of the episode where, Pelton, you get to guess how much this movie made.
Oh, yeah.
And how much it was made for. I'm going to give you the budget
Original.
and box office for Hoodwinked as a reference.
Okay,
I feel like
perfect.
summer sequels, you can use that information kind of as like, a little guess, a little, context for what the sequel could have made and how much it was made for.
Are we kind of like changing rules a little bit for summer sequels?
A little bit, yes. Because I think it's important context to have, especially considering we are covering sequels. To potentially big movies, because if they are big enough, they get a sequel.
Can I add a rule?
Sure.
That before we record, you privately have to text me the box office and budget. So like I just seem like really knowledgeable on air.
Yeah, right.
Like
Sure.
I want to seem really cool for these episodes.
Sure, we could do that.
Hell yeah. So if we could pause the recording now, and we're back.
Yeah. So do you want to guess how much Hoodwinked was made? No.
Oh, please, God, no.
So Hoodwinked was made for $8 million. And it grossed $110 million in the box office.
Whoa, I don't remember doing that well.
Absolutely insane
Hell yeah.
return. Now, again, these numbers come from like Wikipedia. So the actual
Fair,
box office total could be slightly skewed, but one way or the other, because I know this movie made a ton of money. But yes, $8 million is like the posted budget, and it made 110. So it was like tenfold what it was made for.
Now, okay, this is interesting because going into, if you'd asked me like a month ago or even an hour ago what the budget on Hoodwinked 2 would be, I would have guessed less. Only because I never heard of it. I didn't even know if it had a theatrical release. Like, I just have no knowledge of this movie whatsoever. But now seeing it, and you kind of clued me in about they went crazy with the marketing.
Yeah.
You gave a little hint there, which I like. New rule, you have to give me a little hint. But it's like a little breadcrumb, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
So, if the first one was 8 and it made a fucking shitload, I'm going to assume that they doubled it for this one.
Okay.
Because while the animation is technically better, it's still not, like, it's not anything to write home about. You know what I mean? So I'm going to say it's 16 mil.
Okay.
Not including marketing. And box office, there's no way it made money because there's no Hoodwinked 3. And I feel like no one talks about Hoodwinked 2. Like, no one. Like, I've met no one. So if it's 16 million, first one made 100 million, but they dumped all the money into marketing, I'll say it made $40 million.
Okay, so again, Hoodwinked 1 was made for $8 million, and it grossed $110 million.
Good for them. It deserves it fully.
Hoodwinked 2 was made not for double, but for quadruple.
Whoa.
It was made for $30 million.
Really?
Roughly quadruple. And it made in the box office $23.1 million. So if it was made for the same amount, it would have made money. But because they dumped $30 million into it, they lost a significant amount.
That's going from 160 million to 23 million. That's a bad fall. That's brutal.
It's a big drop off.
I don't okay, not to spoil final thoughts on the movie, but I feel like it deserved to make more money than that, no?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know how you think of the movie, but I don't want it to fail.
I don't see why the Hoodwinked 1 audiences wouldn't be coming back out. Like, especially considering the marketing push, like you would think that they would at least have like a return on investment for this movie just from the marketing alone. I mean, considering like the reception of Hoodwinked 1, I know people didn't love the animation style, myself included, but I would still think like with those characters, the setup and everything, you would want to come back to it, but I guess not.
Maybe it was just because I know the reception of Hoodwinked 2 is pretty low. Like, I think on Rotten Tomatoes, it's sitting at like an 11 or 14. Like, it's really down there.
I don't think it deserves that low, but
I don't either, to be honest. And I think if the reception for 2 was higher, and maybe, don't go super crazy with the budget. Like,
Yeah.
I get the temptation, you know what I mean? But tone down the budget, maybe get those critic reviews up a little bit.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart because I watched Hoodwinked and Hoodwinked 2 in prep for this episode back to back.
Mm-hmm.
And even though, spoiler alert, I do think the first Hoodwinked is stronger,
Mm-hmm.
I did have a weird moment where I'm like, does this deserve to be a bigger franchise?
Yeah.
And going in, I try to be open-minded because I know I have nostalgia behind it. We've done an episode on it. Like, it's an episode I remember being somewhat decent, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, go in, open mind, pretend I'm like a studio exec, whatever. And I do think that this could have easily been a way bigger franchise. Like, this could be up there with, like, your Shreks or your How to Train Your Dragons.
Yeah.
And it's just
100%,
too fell apart.
especially considering it started as a very small thing and it could have been super lucrative, but,
I know. And
Here we
it's
are.
so like, it's so sad hearing the box office because I feel like the first Hoodwinked is like the little engine that could. Like,
Well, and I think that's
it
what we're
shouldn't
going
have
to
been
find
made.
as well with some of these sequels is either there's a steep decline or there's an even bigger return.
True. That's true.
So it'll be super interesting as this series kind of unfolds. So weirdly enough, I found a lot on production for this movie.
Ooh,
so
okay.
I'm gonna try and power through, but there's a lot of really interesting little nuggets here. So in January of 2006, Corey Edwards confirmed that a Hoodwinked sequel titled Hoodwinked 2: Hood vs. Evil was in the works, and that a basic treatment had already been completed. The following month, Edwards announced that he, Todd Edwards, and Tony Leach were writing the sequel, and they would not return to direct it. So they already had announced that they were going to write it, but not return to direct.
Yeah, which I think looking back was not like a mistake because like I'm sure they had their reasons, but if they had to return to direct it, I do wonder if the legacy of Hoodwinked would be a little different.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Initially, the film was going to be independently funded by Canbar, with the Weinstein Company distributing, as had been done with the previous film. However, the two companies entered into a co-financing agreement. So
Okay.
Weinstein Company was putting in a little bit of money, Canbar was putting in a little bit of money, and they were going forward that together.
Okay, you know what? I'm glad Weinstein lost a little money then.
Yeah.
It's the only like bright side to this.
Right. So in March of 2007, it was announced that Mike Disa, who had long worked in the animation industry, as we previously discussed, would make his directorial debut on this film. While Disa had not seen the original film before being approached to direct the sequel,
Bastard.
Corey Edwards expressed enthusiasm over his involvement, saying that he had a real passion for the film and a devotion to maintaining the Hoodwinked world. He wanted to do the sequel justice, and he really gets what they were trying to do. That is from Corey Edwards. So it's good that he had the backing of the guys who did the original film.
Yeah, that's true. He had like the seal of approval. It wasn't like he just took it over.
Personally, I think for the most part, he does a pretty good job at keeping the world and the universe kind of sound. Like he does it justice to a certain extent.
Yes and no. And when we do plot breakdown, I'll kind of get into it a little bit more. But I think there's fun lore building of the world. Mm-hmm. But then there's also stuff where I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah, I don't know about that.
There's weird like world building, expanding things that I think don't work and I think go too big.
I agree, but some do.
But some, especially the smaller things, work really well, I think. So Disa explained in a 2011 column for the Huffington Post that he was impressed by how the gender roles in the film contrasted those typically portrayed by Disney. So that's a fun little tidbit, with that. And I completely agree.
Yeah.
While most of the cast reprised their roles from the first film, Hayden Panettiere?
Nailed it. I love the level of research we do for the show.
I love it so much. Replaced Anne Hathaway in the role of Red, while Martin Short replaced Jim Belushi in the role of Kirk the Woodsman.
That's a crazy switch.
Insane. And also, I don't know if you caught it, but the people playing Hansel and Gretel, it was
Nick Kroll, right?
It was Bill Hader. And then it was someone else, but it was like this cast is absolutely stacked. There's Glenn Close, obviously Patrick Warburton, and you had Anne Hathaway, you have Martin Short, like Jim Belushi,
Bill Hader.
insane cast.
I would say the beginning of Hoodwinked 2 starts with just the cast.
which is
And I'm like,
a flex.
it is such a flex. I'm like, whoever decided to do that's a fucking G, dude.
Genius. Yeah. So Corey Edwards explained that the role of Red was recast due to the recent success of Hathaway's career, saying, "It's clear to me that her involvement in the first film was a nice favor for Harvey," that being Harvey Weinstein, and the last of her, quote, little girl roles. Whoa. You can see how a sequel to an animated film is not in her trajectory anymore, which I guess like makes sense, but it is interesting with the Harvey Weinstein thing.
It could make sense, but also like you have giant animated sequels like Shrek 2, Shrek 3. Those are pretty stacked casts, and everyone comes back for those.
Yeah, that's true.
Like if Hoodwinked was in that caliber, which I think it could have been or should have been, either one.
Especially with the
voice
voice
cast.
cast.
It would make sense. Yeah, it would make sense she'd come back.
And I don't think this was too long after the first one, at least enough for them to be like, no, she's a woman now. Like you're gonna tell in her voice.
Yeah.
It's wild. But honestly, I didn't really notice it all that much. Like I think they did a really great job recasting all of the roles, all the ones that got recast at least. But yes, and regarding Belushi's departure from the series, Edwards explained he was never really comfortable with the accent for the Woodsman. He wanted to help us out and loved the film, but kept saying, quote, "I'm not an accent guy." So he had a hard time connecting to that character, which, you know what? I respect it. I think he did a great job, and I respect him leaving just for the personal side of it.
I know, good for him to be like, hey, I love this movie, I love this world, but like I don't think I can do this character justice. Good for you.
It's really great.
And you know what? Look at his filmography. Hoodwink's the best one.
Yeah.
Objectively.
Sure. So while the first film's animation was produced by a small group of independent animators in the Philippines, which we talked about on the last episode.
Yeah.
This film's animation was produced by the Toronto-based animation studio Arc Productions instead. So it's interesting
up their game.
They went over, they tried to up the quality, because I know that was like a major concern with critics and fans was this movie doesn't look good. The first Hoodwink just doesn't look good. And again, this was at a time where like Pixar and Disney were coming out with these huge films, DreamWorks, like the standards that you couldn't even argue like, oh, this is just what animation looked like back then, like overall. It's like, yes, it did, but like for low budget. And that was just like not landing with people. It's not like today where low budget, indie animation is really like winning Oscars and like doing all these things, making waves on the internet. Like it wasn't as, I don't know about respected, but it wasn't as popular with fans and critics back then. So you can kind of get away with it a little bit more now.
It landed enough that it made like 160 million. 100%. I will say, this is why I call Hoodwink like the little engine that could. And I think it would have been so cool if it became such a big franchise. In an alternate universe, take the same script, same cast, same directors, writers, and you had the first Hoodwinked like produced, distributed, and animated by like DreamWorks. I do think Hoodwinked would be way more massive than it is.
Yeah, 100. I mean, especially considering like you have something like Megamind, which I think objectively looks good, but doesn't come out with a sequel for like 20 years and is like famously not received the best. So I feel like, but my point being is that like, yes, this story, to your point, works really well. It's just the only downfall is the visual style of it. And so I don't know if it was just that bad to people that they were like, I cannot even stand to watch a second one. Apparently it was for me 3 years ago.
Yeah, you were frightened.
Yeah. But it is one of those things where if it was produced at a higher budget and looked better, I think it really could have like...
It would have gone down in history. Like history would be rewritten, I'm telling you.
But I mean, again, they still made $100 million.
I think it could have made more.
That's insane.
I'm not even kidding.
No, I know.
I think the biggest thing with Hoodwinked, and it's not their fault, they had $8 million as a budget, but you're right. Like, visually, it is a high level of entry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I could see a ton of casual movie people putting this on and being like, ew, what the fuck is that? And just turning it off immediately.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, if Disney did it or Pixar did it, it would be like top 10 Pixar films. I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I can get on board with that.
So Hoodwinked 2, this is a sad episode for me, Nick, because I want this to go well so bad.
But it is exciting because of our guest today, which we'll get to in a moment. But before we do that, I still have some more in production. So Burger King released toys for the film in January 2010. Again, going into like the marketing for this. Shortly after the film's initial release date had passed.
Ooh.
even though a new release date had not yet been set.
That happens, though.
Well, in March of 2010, 2 months after, it was revealed that Canbar Entertainment was suing the Weinstein Company for delaying the film's release overhaul. For not making contributions to monthly production accounts after February of 2009, and for not consulting them about a release strategy. So again, this all kind of fell apart with the marketing, and they were talking about it. And maybe this is why it felt so heavily marketed, because they've been marketing it way longer. Canbar Entertainment also stated that the Weinstein Company did not respond to proposed changes to the films, even though Canbar Entertainment had final authority on production decisions.
So wait. Are you telling me the Weinstein Company did something bad?
Listen,
That doesn't
I know it
sound
doesn't happen
right.
often, and I know the man at the helm, makes notoriously great decisions.
Notoriously.
No, this is insane. So I know that you were going to say that like this does happen with some productions, and
Yeah, 'cause
I think that
like-
this plays into a little bit of like, I don't think it was supposed to happen for this one.
No. I would say there is famously a thing where making like a toy manufacturing company for a movie takes a long time.
Yeah,
So that stuff is established pretty early.
right.
So if a movie ends up getting delayed further into production or post-production, it's too late for toys. So like, for example, Captain America Brave New World, like just came out.
Yeah.
They had the McDonald's Happy Meal for that almost a year before the movie came out.
Oh, like the
I
run
went
was
to a McDonald's and got a Captain America Sam Wilson toy, and then 9 months later, I went to go see the movie.
Oh no way! But okay, so at that point though, was the trailer out, or was it like it was there was nothing?
I don't
Because
even
like
think the trailer was
Spider-Man
out.
trailer is out, and like Doomsday is
True.
like releasing stuff. So I don't know, with like bigger movies like that, they like release them pretty early. But I mean, if there's like nothing,
I
and then
believe
they
there
start
was
coming
nothing.
out, that is interesting. Well, and actually, yeah, you make a good point, because now I'm thinking about it. The like official toys for Endgame were coming out, and Infinity War long before the final trailers
long
were coming
before.
out, and people were figuring out spoilers,
spoilers.
like the Lego sets. I remember all those,
Exactly.
and they
It
would
happens
figure
all
out
the time.
Yeah, that's
Funko
that's
Pops
interesting.
is another big one where it gets leaked before the
Yeah,
movie comes out.
it's interesting.
And even like you have stuff where, same with Captain America Brave New World, one of the McDonald's toys was a character that ended up being cut from the final movie. Mm-hmm. So you can fully have a toy of a character who's just not in the film at all.
Yeah,
Like that's how far in advance these things work.
that is interesting.
So
Man, we gotta
Hoodwinked
keep that in
too.
mind for future projects.
Oh, because we're making toys, dude. I want a
got-
little fucking bobblehead of me and you.
Well, okay, that, but also like the characters that we have talked about for future projects
Would be sick as hell.
It's like
as a Happy Meal.
we need like either a Happy Meal or like a legit like figure.
I always say the day I know I made it is either there's like a Funko Pop of Matthew Pelton.
Yes.
Because they do like directors. They have like a directing series. I would have one of those, but Funko's going out of business. So I got to get on that real quick. Or I want my own cereal.
Oh, you want to get to like JoJo Siwa level?
I want, not even me. Like if it's like Quaywood O's or it's like something we make. Like a movie, you know what I mean?
see.
You walk down the cereal aisle. Today, I was walking down the cereal aisle because I forced Nicole to take me every time.
Right.
And they had,
Like your mother.
I swear, I'm like, can we go down the cereal aisle, please? Please, please, please. I throw a little fit. But they had Lucky Charms X Super Mario Galaxy. Mm-hmm. I'm like, dude, that's fucking it. If it's Lucky from Lucky Charms and my goofy ass face right next to him,
Yeah.
dog, come
Yeah.
on.
Like, oh.
I could die happy right there.
Yeah. It is such an interesting thing though, with like that production schedule. But so my final note on production here before we get to our interview is in February 2011, nearly a year after this whole mishap happened, the first trailer and poster for the film were released, and a new release date for April 29th, 2011 was finally announced.
So when was this supposed to come out?
2010,
It ended up coming out.
2011, almost a year later.
Wow. Yeah.
And they had those Burger King, to your point, they came
There
out.
you go. It does happen. This is why, Nick, this episode is just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Because
it really
I
is.
want the Hoodwinked franchise to do so well.
Yeah.
And it just, the more you talk, the more I can't do it.
But you know what? What's not heartbreaking is we have a very special guest that is going to be on the show in just a few moments. And we're going to set him up like as we start talking to him. But Pelton, do you wanna do the honors?
So we are incredibly excited today because we have somebody very special with us, currently sitting in our Zoom. He's the creator, co-director, co-writer, songwriter, and soundtrack producer of Hoodwinked, as well as the co-writer of the movie we were talking about today, Hoodwinked 2. This man genuinely shaped a large part of our childhood. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Todd Edwards.
Hey,
Welcome to the
thanks
show.
for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. This is so cool.
Yes.
Yeah. So I want to start out from the beginning here, starting from Michigan all the way up to your first movie.
You've done your research.
Oh yes,
We came prepared.
When did you realize you wanted to make films? Did you go to film school? Was this a lifelong passion of yours? How did it all start?
Yeah, it was always from the beginning. So for guys my age, what you would consider Gen X. Star Wars was like the big one. I was a little guy when that came out, and so many of us, that kind of solidified like, I think there's literally like, anybody that is my age, that was kind of the moment. Before that, very much into like the Wizard of Oz and like, I don't know. But my parents were kind of like the do what you want and follow your dreams kind of parents. And so it was never really a question. It's like, oh yeah, we're going to do that. Did not know anyone in the film business at the beginning. And so it was just a lot of like making little movies growing up with my brother and my sister, and pulling in friends and cousins. And, this is before even anything digital. It was all like Super 8 film.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. And then in college, I kind of got into doing like more like sketch shorts and did like some kind of more long form video stuff. And then my first feature was, sort of a couple years after college.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Didn't plan on getting into animation. That's was not,
so interesting. Yeah,
we could get to that later if you want.
Yeah, no, definitely, because that's something that I really do want to talk about, specifically with Hoodwinked and the animation side of things. But
And also, you said you made a couple movies like very early on with like family, cousins, just kind of like roped whoever you could into it.
I mean, it was just a real thing where we would just, we're talking like late 70s here. I'm dating myself, but early 80s. It was probably early 80s.
Sure.
I'm old, but I'm not like
So give yourself some credit.
but yeah, we grew up in that Steven Spielberg, George Lucas era. It was kind of like trying to copy Indiana Jones, E.T., Star Wars, just trying to get in on that vibe. So like, it's kind of funny because I know Stranger Things, like the Duffer Brothers are millennials, but they're like kind of doing Gen X.
It's the same vibe.
So,
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting because like
Me and Nick still do the same vibe.
yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah,
that
I
you
mean,
just
it's-
listed off a lot of our inspirations.
for sure. Yeah. I mean, it's nothing unique, but it's, I think where we were, there wasn't really anyone else doing it. So we were kind of we felt like we were kind of special, and it really wasn't till I got out to LA where I got more of a sense of like, oh, this is where kind of like everyone comes, and going to like film festivals, and you just kind of like meet other people who had similar stories growing up. But, we were, most of my childhood was in Columbus, Ohio. We had moved there when I was like 3 years old, and I spent all through high school there. And then, so anyhow, that was kind of where we were running around town with the Super 8 camera.
Just making whatever you can.
Yeah, and you would like go to Kmart and like take the little cassette and like, it would take like, a week, and they'd send it to the lab and you get this little reel back. And then we would, watch it on the projector in the basement and literally be cutting the film together. So we were learning the basics of filmmaking, just literally just cutting this Super 8 film.
It's just in your basement.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so like,
Awesome.
getting to college, it was the first time I worked with sort of reel to reel, sort of a 1/2-inch video editing machine. And I just lived in that. That became my life. I was an art major, but I was doing like TV broadcasting as a minor.
Oh, nice.
But my main major was kind of like putting on this comedy show that we had. And I would just like, it was just like sketch comedy and shorts and that kind of thing. Yeah. So that's kind of the origins, really.
Now, those early films, when was the last time you watched them? Like, are any of them good?
There's a lot of ambition. I've seen them here and there over the years. I think we had some of them transferred. My mom has some of them somewhere. Yeah, I have not seen them a whole lot in recent years. My first movie is called Chillicothe, and there are some DVDs floating around out there. And I think on that DVD, there's a behind the scenes video we did. This is from 20 some years ago.
Sure.
That was our Sundance movie. That's kind of what got the professional thing rolling. And I can tell you more about that if you want. But it was, we had a little piece that was like behind the scenes. And on that, we feature some of our childhood movies.
Oh, no way.
If you get your hands on one of those DVDs, you could see some clips of some of our childhood.
Nick, we got to search that for eBay.
We got to get on that. We got to get on that.
For that.
I'm not sure where it would be at this point because it's not.
Well, actually, speaking of Chillicothe and Sundance and that kind of whole experience, me and Nick, we obviously do Greenlit and we talk about movies from our youth, but we also make shorts and we want to make movies. So having your first big movie go into Sundance, it was critically well received, did great in the film festival circuit. What were some of the bigger takeaways from as a real first time writer, director, actor? I know you were also in it.
It's the kind of thing that I think when you're young, I was 27 when that premiered. And I always kind of describe it that Sundance is very intense. I don't think it's changed too much. It's a very intense environment. We were there in 1999 was our year. Same year as the Blair Witch Project, Run Lola Run.
Oh, wow.
It's a big year.
It was busy and there was a lot going on. So we managed to find our own little niche and it was always packed crowds. I mean, we had 5 screenings, but I would say that first screening when we premiered it, the way I describe it is I was a different person when the movie was done than when it had started because I had an experience sort of in front of the whole industry because you don't even know who's in that audience. I mean, it's studio heads. There might be, directors that you admire, it's just a packed crowd and you just don't know who's there.
It's gonna be a pretty intimidating audience.
Yeah. And it was a very personal kind of movie, not exactly, it wasn't a documentary, but I based so much of it on that time of being sort of guys who just got out of college who were kind of some people kind of compared it to Swingers or something like that. It's the Midwest, someone called it the Midwest Swingers. I mean, it wasn't as cool or stylized as that, but it was very ambitious. I mean, it was all shot on 35 millimeter.
Oh, wow.
We had kind of made inroads with this production company. I was in Oklahoma for a couple of years. That's a whole other story. But we made friends with a company that they owned the only 35 millimeter camera in the state of Oklahoma. This thing, it costs this camera's worth the price of the house that I grew up in. But we had made enough inroads with working on commercials and music videos and that kind of thing, learning the grip truck. So literally a year or two after college, we gained enough trust where we were renting this thing for a good price and just running around town. And
nice.
And, it was kind of nuts. I mean, it's I don't even know how we did it. I mean, I'll tell when I talk to students or people starting out, I'll be you guys, if you're in college or starting out, it's you young people, you have we used $1 million worth of what I call social capital, to make that first film because yes, we're paying everyone, but if it's your 25-year-old friend, it's way easier to say, hey, could you work for $100 a week? And it's the 90s.
Well, that too.
I couldn't do that now. I couldn't, all my friends are grown-ups with kids going to college and stuff. So it's a special time of life. It's a launch pad time. And so, but that experience of going to Sundance, you walk out in the lobby and there's Michael Stipe there 'cause he's producing American movie and just running into iconic people. And that movie got seen by a lot of big people too. It's crazy. I mean, I could list some name drops just for fun, but Jack Lemmon saw it for some reason, iconic comedian. Somebody shared it with him. Francis Ford Coppola saw it. Gus Van Sant saw it.
That's awesome.
It was a long list of, because it's just once you're in Sundance, it's people will put their eyeballs on it. And that was kind of what paved the way to get Hoodwinked made.
That's
Maybe
so
he
interesting.
has a DVD. We got to ask Francis Ford Coppola for the DVD copy.
It's weird because I even talked to him on the phone once because I was in communication with his head of, I don't know, he had a TV development kind of arm of his company at the
Okay.
time, and I was calling for his creative executive, and I think it's a small operation that they had over there at American Zoetrope, and the phone would just ring and ring, and all of a sudden this iconic voice answers, "Hello," and like I'm like, holy crap, I just
You could
talked to
immediately
this person,
tell, yeah.
like he's taking the message for me to, like.
Right. That's so incredible. Yeah, no, it's so interesting. I was going to ask, and you kind of already talked about it from like a producing side of like, obviously we're still very young in our careers and we're just fresh out of college. And as you talked about, it is so interesting of like, yeah, getting, scrapping a lot of things together and just getting the story you have made. And the fact that this was kind of a jumping off point for Hoodwinked. So that's where I kind of want to transition into next. So you have this film in Sundance, and it leads to Hoodwink. Now, was this, you mentioned a little bit earlier that you didn't know that you were going to eventually end up in animation. So how did that all kind of happen? How did it kind of fold into what ended up being Hoodwinked?
So in '99, a lot of heat on us coming off of Sundance. We were meeting with a lot of people who wanted to know what was next.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of got sidetracked by this one investor who was like, "I'm going to fund your next film."
Ooh.
And so we literally, and without going into it because it's kind of a depressing story, but we spent about 6 months getting into production on another movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then for whatever reason that I won't go into on this podcast, that's a different podcast, but
Fair.
this guy just yanked it, because he
Mm-hmm.
wasn't happy about X, Y, and Z. And so suddenly it was like, the kind of that crazy momentum we were on was kind of cooled off a little bit, and we're like, our production was suddenly just like cut, and so we were kind of spinning for like a year and a half, just like what is going to happen next. So part of the story is, when I was living in Columbus, Ohio, there was a guy at our church, okay, who, his name was Marty Fuller, and he was an Ohio State University graduate.
Mm-hmm.
And he and a couple of guys, one of them went on to become, they've all done stuff,
Sure.
but they had an animation company, and these guys were older than us. They were like in their 30s. They were very they were like the first sort of professional dudes that we got to spend a little time with, because we became, my brother and I, like the year I graduated high school, we sort of worked at their company, for like a summer, and we were doing like in-betweens, because they were all hand animation, and they did some work on the original Space Jam, and they were doing like all these regional commercial spots, and they would go on, like, one of the guys' names is Jeff Smith, who created a comic called Bone.
I know Bone.
Yeah. So the creator of Bone, a guy named Jim Cameron, who went on to direct a bunch of like Disney sequels, I think, and stuff.
Sure.
Like these guys did stuff. But at that time, it was kind of the first step into like, here are these guys who have very informed opinions about film and who have this foot in the professional world that we didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big learning moment. And I think my brother, who's a little older than me, Corey, he got like a little more into the headspace of animation at that time than I did. He was a cartoonist. We both do visual art, but he sort of specialized in cartooning growing up. And so kind of in the years, right after Chillicothe, we got this little crude direct-to-video animated Christmas special made with a friend that we grew up with. And it was called Wobots. And it if you look at it now, I saw a clip recently. It's like, you think Hoodwinked looks rough. This is like 5 times rougher. But it was Wild West early days. Like, nobody was doing, I think besides like Veggie Tales or whatever, I don't think anyone was doing independent feature animation. I mean, like, this was just a few years after like Toy Story and Bugs Life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Shrek had just come out. And so it's really crazy that we even would think that we could do what we did. And there were so many, I mean, it's to the credit of our investor that we were able to do it at all, because it was a very, like, there was no clear path as we were going through it. I mean, honestly, it's been so many years, I can be a little more open about, like, we didn't even have a contract, because the investor, he was this inventor. I mean, his name is Maurice Canbar. He was this older man who lived up in San Francisco, and he had gotten involved in the Sundance movie. He put a little bit of money in to help us get our film prints made, I think.
Okay.
But he had dipped his toe in with us, liked us, and we were trying to see if he would want to get involved in some of all these live action projects. Like I thought the path I was on, I wanted to be like the Coen brothers. You know, we had a lot of projects sort of in that vein. And we had done this little Christmas special, very crude, early days of, you know, CG. And he saw that and he's like, I'll get behind that. I'll do that. That's what I want to do. And we're like, really? Really? Because look at all these other things that we developed. We got full scripts. And
you sure?
Like, no. Yeah, he's like, and he had a couple of really good things he said to us. He said, base it on a classic, you know, because he pointed out that like Disney movies are all based on these classics. Yeah. He's like, I will fund an animated movie for, you know, and it was like a very small amount of, you know, eventually it grew, but like basically so the short version is it was this kind of insane rickety production for like 3 years of our lives that slowly grew to like this $8 million budget, and more players got involved towards the end. But at the beginning, it was just like figuring it out. And right. You know, so much of it was like putting together a good story reel. And we knew we had a good script. So, and then one of the producers who came on board knew a group of animators in the Philippines and was like, hey, you know, let's get this group. You know, a lot of them were kind of student level. And so we were making trips over there. And it just slowly started to turn into a thing. And once, you know, you have that storyboard reel done where you're kind of watching the movie, you can see the jokes, you can kind of see the timing. Right. Once we had that, after a few months, we were able to show it to some kids, get their reaction. Oh, they like the goat. They like the goat. They like the squirrel. You know, so we would, things we might have considered cutting, we're like, no, that's got to stay because everyone loves that. So we're doing our own little sort of, you know, what do you call it, where you're like showing it and kind of getting the reactions and
like test screenings.
Yeah, test screening. Our own little test screenings. And then towards the end, like a lot of people started looking at, like Katzenberg was looking at it. Wow. New Line Cinema screened it a bunch of times. I mean, we joke like that. I do not approve of this, and one day I hope to find out. But the year before we came out, we were screening for New Line. And I don't know if you guys are Beastie Boys fans, but Adam Horovitz of the Beastie Boys, his sister was an executive at New Line.
Okay.
And we had a screening. New Line was looking at it a lot. And there was one screening where I swear like 70 people from New Line showed up to the screening room to watch a rough cut. Okay. So that year, the Beastie Boys To the Five Boroughs album came out. And there's a line in one of the songs where Adam Horovitz says, "What the schnitzel?" He's like, "What the schnitzel, we're back." And it's like, that's not a phrase I'd ever heard before Hoodwinked. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's a Hoodwinked shout out.
Beastie Boys stole from Hoodwinked.
Yeah. I mean, it was awesome because I was a big fan.
Such a cool. That's so great. I do want to first thank you for keeping the goat in the movie, because we're big fans. But I do want to take a step back, and because you mentioned that obviously you had a little bit of like almost guidelines or sort of direction on where the story can be taken. And obviously animation is such a visual language, especially like in the early development, understanding, as you said, like kind of what bits work, what characters work, and that sort of thing in a visual medium. When it comes to writing, I'm very curious what you found the differences between live action and animation writing, if any.
If you ever go to Disneyland, there's the Storyteller's Cafe.
Yes.
And there's like
Nick is very aware.
You know that one? See, when my kids were small, we went there constantly. So I would always look at this carved little saying, and it's about storytelling. It's like the life so short, the craft so long to learn. And like that's my go-to phrase about screenwriting, because I've been writing screenplays, you know, over 25 years now, and you're always learning something, you know, and so even in the last couple of years, you know, my partner now that I work with, Tim Hooten, we've worked together for like 15 years now, but you know, we're always just like, there'd be some new trick, you know, like, oh man, this is cool, you know, like it's just, you're crafting a movie, you know, you want to have something feel familiar, but you want to find the new angles.
Of course.
So I don't know. In the case of Hoodwinked, we did have some really good instincts from the producers. We had some little catchphrases going around the production office. One was like our investor always said, "Thou shalt not bore." He kept saying that, "Thou shalt not bore." That's
I
like the
like
number one rule of
that.
filmmaking. Yeah.
We're
And then
definitely
the
gonna
other one
steal
was,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And our producer, Sue B. Montgomery, she had worked in a lot of productions over the years, and her catchphrase was setups and payoffs, setups and payoffs.
Mm.
And so at that point, I'd already developed and written, I don't know, 5 or 6 screenplays. When we sat down to write Hoodwinked, it was the first time where thou shalt not bore and setups and payoffs was just like in our minds. So we were looking for that. And I think a lot of the whole Rashomon, I mean, I have to credit the Simpsons episode a lot. I think that got in my head. There was a Simpsons episode where they're kind of parroting Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
Yes.
And so all of a sudden, the investor had said, "You guys come back in a month and just pitch me an animated movie based on a classic." And so, and I had been in the film business. I'd been kicking around Hollywood for like 5 years at this point. So I knew an opportunity when I saw it,
Mhm.
where it's like, this is not what we planned to do, but this is what we're doing. So we are
Yeah,
going to come
go
up
for
with,
it.
yeah. And so coming up with a classic, it was like, we had to just whittle it down. Like, well, what hasn't been done? What does everyone know? And once we were kind of circling Red Riding Hood, I remembered that Simpsons episode. And I was like, man, because we didn't just want to do a kiddie movie. We wanted it to be clever and sort of cut through. And I mean, in a way, even with all of its, challenges and rough around the edges, we kind of accomplished exactly what that sort of initial gut feeling was. I was like, I want to make this something that Quentin Tarantino would think is cool. And then so cut to like 3 years later, we actually meet Quentin Tarantino. We're telling about our movie. He's like, "That's brilliant." And I was just like, "Yep, I knew you would think so."
There you go.
Yeah. But just that idea, those setups and payoffs are so built into the idea, and so I had kind of pitched it to my brother, like, "Hey, let's do this crime story format where that way we can do the Rashomon thing and jump around and like learn the secret lives of the characters." And that's how we get around the idea of, the fact that this is such a simple tale that everyone knows. That's to our advantage because we can just riff on it, run circles around it.
Exactly.
Once we've told it once, we can just kind of get nuts with it. And yeah, so that was the idea.
Earlier in this episode, because we talked a little bit about the original Hoodwinked before hopping onto this interview, but we were saying like Hoodwinked takes such a famous, well-known story and famous characters, and it's such like a creative expansion of that world and just looking at it a different lens and putting it into such a fun, different genre, but the same characters in that genre. It's just such a fascinating approach. And like I could see Quentin Tarantino watching Hoodwinked.
I mean, and Danny Boyle liked it.
There you go.
That's awesome.
He name dropped us on an Apple podcast as he was like asked, like, what, for whatever reason, he was asked what some of his favorite animated movies were. And he was like, well, of course the Pixar movies, Hoodwinked. It was like this. It's like he name drops us right
We
after
got it. We got it.
Pixar. So,
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, it was just like, yeah. Anyhow, there was a feeling of like, because obviously we were doing something crazy, and I think it's been reported on, but like, and I've actually, I didn't look at a lot of stuff online for a long time, but kind of as we're getting this new production of ours together, and we're kind of at the 20th anniversary of Hoodwinked, I kind of put some materials together, sort of looking back.
Sure.
And so I started like checking out some fan videos and sort of podcasts that I had never seen before. And it's kind of crazy, the fandom that's out there. And some really great sort of analysis that, there's a whole fan musical that someone put on. Like, it's very elaborate.
What?
I think you can
That's
find it
awesome.
on YouTube. Yeah, like
That's
they do the whole
great.
thing. They do the songs, they have costumes. People
That's so
grown
fun.
up on this thing. And it's just a great feeling because obviously, the shortcomings of it, there were, I was reminded of things. This one podcaster or YouTuber had done his research and was like basically reminding me that, like, oh yeah, these guys could not redo anything because their budget was the margins were so thin as far as like
You guys
getting
are
it done.
locked in.
That literally our artists are learning on the go. So like when I watch the movie now, I kind of see a patchwork. And
Really?
to me, like, in terms of like visually, like
Oh,
there's some
sure.
stuff that might have been like earlier on that is just rough.
Sure.
And then there's like, so there's like maybe 20% that's I cannot even look at. And there's like this sort of middle part that's like, and then there's like a little bit that like looks pretty good to me.
Yeah.
And so when we're putting our highlight reels in together and stuff, I focus on those
Do
20.
the good stuff. Yeah. Put that in
Yeah,
there.
of course.
That's fair.
But the other big part is like I think it had a point of view. The script kept you locked in. The jokes. We had a great cast, a great sound mix.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was producing the soundtrack with John Painter, who is the composer, he produced all of the songs. He's just a genius. Like I'm a pretty good songwriter, but he is a genius musician producer.
Mm-hmm.
And so that, we've had this like, 20-year working relationship now. We're working with him now on something. But he's a dude who like you go to his studio and he's got like 1,000 instruments in there, and he'll like pick up the horns and like we had a little orchestra do the score, but like for the songs he does a lot of that himself, or he'll bring people in.
Good for him.
It's in Nashville, it's like Music City. He's got friends who are like just like genius drummer or string player or whatever. He can get somebody there in like 20 minutes.
Do anything under the sun.
Yeah. So like that, as far as the soundtrack is just like excellent, in my opinion, and I'm not just patting my own back. It's like, it was produced excellently with top musicians. The sound mix was all done at Skywalker Sound.
Very
Gary
cool.
Rizzo just won his like third Oscar, I think, for F1.
He did?
Our dude. He's a good friend in the industry who he mixed Hoodwinked. He does all the Nolan films. So it's like, those are things that are working on a subliminal level, maybe because most people don't even think about like sound. But I think those things are so solid that, if you're at home watching it, yes, you're seeing these rough things, but you're kind of locked in sort of with the sonic experience of like a real high quality movie. So I guess kind of how I look at it now. And I don't know, you guys might be aware, it's finally been re-released on streaming. It was not available for like 6 years. So it's on Tubi now. And it looks great on there. As far as like resolution, it looks as good as it looked in the theaters.
Yeah, I think it looks great. The first time we watched it for this show, it wasn't on Tubi yet.
Yeah.
So we couldn't find it, and then for this one, we could finally watch it on Tubi. We're like, there you go.
Exactly.
Yeah, Sony's distributing it. So they've been, just this week, they've been like doing little Instagram promos and stuff.
Hey, nice.
So it's kind of getting, it's just, the life just keeps going on.
It's getting the attention it deserves.
Exactly.
No, so I know obviously me and Nick are big production people, and we went over a lot of the production of like how you guys got funding and how that just kind of ballooned to the 8 million and ended up being the animators, etc. But the cast of Hoodwinked is a pretty stacked, like A-list talent cast.
Yeah.
So how did you get to people like that?
Well, we started with just a couple. Our producer Subi had worked at Disney, so she knew. She was kind of in with, like, she knew like kind of who to call to get some people. Our co-director Tony had just done a production with Patrick Warburton, and he passed it off to him, and he loved it. He was just reading the script, just cracking up. So we got Warburton, we got like David Ogden Stiers, who's like, he's not necessarily a household name, but for years he was like a big Disney voice guy, and just a lot of like that first sort of pass, a lot of kind of iconic voice actors like Tara Strong.
Yeah, big ones.
Yeah, she was the original Red. So then when the studio got involved, just in the last 6 months, that's when they brought in Anne Hathaway, Glenn Close, and a couple of the others.
Oh, no way. I didn't know that.
Late addition.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
But then also, like John Painter, the music producer, he worked with Ben Folds a lot. Who for my generation was a huge artist. And John got him to come in and perform my song Red is Blue, and that was amazing.
Best song.
Thank you.
I do genuinely, I love that song.
We have said it multiple times in the show that song like truly was one of our favorite parts of the movie.
You guys, I wrote most of these songs in my apartment. It was before my wife and I got married, just a few miles from where I am now here in Pasadena. And it was just like, when I met Danny Boyle, because we met him at a screening, and I was like, I had a Train Spotting poster in my kitchen, and I was sitting there writing these songs with the guitar. And so it was such a full circle feeling for it to grow up. And now, all these years later, I'm checking out all these TikToks, people imitating the goat. And like, it's kind of been a cool 20th anniversary moment
Yeah.
for me, just seeing how it's lived on. There's so many cover versions of the songs, and it's all that you could have hoped for, really, for this little movie to grow up into this.
Yeah, no, it's really great. And like we've brought up multiple times on the show that like obviously Patrick Warburton has been in so many iconic roles throughout our childhood, and he's done so many things. And
He's number 18 on IMDb this week.
Is he really?
Whoa.
Chalamet's 27.
Beat him.
I don't know what, he must have just been cast on a show or something, but like I just was checking
Yeah.
IMDb there. I was like, why is Patrick Warburton number 18?
No, he
I was like, woohoo!
is
About
such an
time.
inspiration for us. But we've always said like this movie in particular is one of our favorite performances of his. So it's really great
I'm
to
so
see.
glad to hear you say that. I mean, that was my hope. I mean, I just had this feeling about the character, basing it on Fletch. When we found out we had an in to get Warburton, because like he had already done like Emperor's New Groove,
Mm-hmm.
and there was just this feeling of like, oh man, this could just be like lightning in a bottle. This
Yeah.
sort of character with this, and so there was a lot of effort put into. I always said, Warburton has something in common with young Chevy Chase,
Mm-hmm.
in that, I think Chevy back in the day was so funny because he has that serious face. So when he's like messing with people, like I don't know, like I just like the wolf has to have the tiny eyes and the serious face, and like there was a lot of work put into the design just to kind of capture that deadpan thing.
Sure.
And then obviously having Twitchy as like his counterpart to just like going nuts. And yeah, I mean, like I thank you. I mean,
Yeah.
I love the character too. It's
Yeah,
kinda
no.
his own movie within the movie.
It's really great. And before we get into the movie at hand here, Hoodwinked 2, I do want to just close out Hoodwinked by asking, looking in the rear view mirror on it now, again, 20th anniversary, what are some things that you feel most proud of? And what are some things that you maybe regret on the film?
I mean, yeah, the fandom is awesome.
Right here.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
thanks. Man, I mean, like so like my son is almost 19.
Mm.
And so I'm meeting like a lot of his friends, like, and like my niece is like in her early 20s. Like, it's crazy how we will just hear kids that age, young people that age are like fanatics, like it's become this thing. It's kind of, it almost strikes me as how like the Muppet Show was for my generation. Like it's this weird, fun little thing from childhood that people are kind of there's some super fans. So I think that's number one. That just feels so good, just knowing
Yeah.
that they're out there, and it feels so good that it's finally available for them to see it again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a million regrets. I mean, like, I mean, the thing that's frustrating and awesome is, I don't know. I could talk about this a little bit, but like, sometimes there's a question of like, why didn't the Hoodwink guys go on to do more?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the short answer is we got paid to develop a ton of movies.
Mm-hmm.
We got paid to come on big studio movies and fix them. And to this day, we have multiple, like we just sold a big movie to Lionsgate, a couple years ago. But the industry is crazy. Sometimes the payday can kind of be death to the indie spirit. For instance, right after Hoodwinked, the biggest deal, we got a 7-figure deal to develop a live action fantasy adventure. And this sucked up like 3 or 4 years of my life. And they paid us so well that we were just in our cave going into development. And but the movie was so big, it was like this Chinese adventure thing. There was a whole film fund that was supposed to bankroll the thing. So it's like when you're getting paid well and you're raising your kids and you're just like hanging out, like going on vacation, getting paid well, developing, we sold like 5 scripts right out the gate. And like for various reasons, some of them got made with other people. And then some of them just got shelved for various reasons. Some of them we still hope might get made at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, we made some indie projects. There's a lot of work that's been done. And in the past couple of years, we're actually in the middle of launching a production now, which to me is like kind of the spiritual cousin to Hoodwinked in that it is very much, and there's been press about it, so I can say a little bit about it, but it is like Hoodwinked. It's based on a classic. It's a Scrooge movie, A Christmas
love that.
Carol.
Oh yeah,
But
it
it's
was in your
a point of
reel.
view you've never seen before. It's called Humbugged.
Mhm.
And so we're about 2 years into this right now. We've done a full story reel. We're working with partners around the globe. We've got this amazing animation studio in Canada, and we're going to launch into full animation later this year.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and I don't know what the question was. I feel like I kind of strayed off of it, but
No, you answered it quite well. Yeah,
you were asking regrets.
sure.
Wild West days, early 2000s. That's what Hoodwink was born out of.
Sure.
And in the years that have followed, we've kind of networked and seen this amazing global web community of amazing CG artists. It's become this massive industry.
Yes.
Yeah, big time.
Over the year, and so we literally know a dozen just like top-notch independent animation studios around the world that we've worked with, that we've developed things with. And so as we've grown up in the industry and animation has become such a focus for us, I've become kind of obsessed with what makes a good CG movie. And there was a seed there that I think we had right, in that we did not want to compete with Pixar. We weren't trying to get in the uncanny valley. We were kind of trying to go for I always call it the badass puppet show. You're not trying to make something that looks real. You just want to entertain with something that is stylized. And so we've seen so many versions of that in the years that have followed that have been done amazing, even from the studios. For instance, like when Trolls came out, it's like they had a very specific aesthetic.
True. That is true.
The whole thing looks like it's made out of felt and like somebody made all the characters out of the crafting materials. And so there's a mentality that goes into these different productions, because nobody has Disney money.
Right.
So a lot of times it's like, well, we're not, in a way we've as a culture and as an industry, we have sort of moved past the uncanny valley phase. And I think people are now looking more for like, how can you make a cool stylized movie where you can lean on the technology to make just the badass puppet show.
Yeah.
So that's, and so like, there's definitely an obsession with like textures that I maybe didn't have back in those Hoodwink days.
Sure.
And honestly, like, I was developing the big Chinese adventure movie also. So I was kind of split my focus while we're, so like for the new productions, it's just like, yes, it's great to develop things, but there's a moment where that stuff has to kind of go to the side, and just the amount of focus to just like keep that quality bar just as high as possible, and just obsess over like, what are the textures of this world and how are we lighting it? And
Yep.
so yeah, it was just very much like just learning as we went.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, kind of the coolest way to do it.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, especially me and Nick have done a lot of, obviously not on the same level, but we've done kind of guerrilla-esque stuff.
That's how you start. I mean,
Yeah, just going out with the camera and just praying for the best almost.
Yeah.
100%.
Now, as you know, for this episode, we are covering Hoodwinked 2, because we've covered the first Hoodwinked in the past in Greenlit.
Yeah.
I know you had like a little part, especially in the beginning, of like writing the script.
Yeah.
So what was that process of returning to the franchise in the early stages, but ultimately not continuing as like a major creative voice?
Yeah. I mean, I have mixed feelings about that. I mean, I was offered Hoodwink 2 to direct, and I've had mixed feelings about should I have done that. I mean, in a way, it was a very specific type of production, and in some ways, like I'll tell people, it's kind of like you graduate from high school, you don't necessarily want to plunge right back in and do high school one more time.
Sure.
And it's like
Fair.
we were kind of looking to other kinds of opportunities. So we chose to not be involved. And I mean, again, it's been so many years, I could probably say some things about it. Like, we weren't really offered a producing deal on it.
Oh, really? I'm
It was
surprised
kind of
by
like,
that.
hey, you guys can direct it, or you can get out of the way, and we're making it.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so the director, Mike Disa, was really sweet about it. He wanted our involvement, and my sister Katie, who is an awesome producer who I've worked with for my whole life,
Mhm.
she was like, no offense, but we don't, he's like, come on over to the studio, we'll have pizza. And she's like, we don't work for pizza. It's like, good luck with it. But we actually wrote it before Hoodwink 1 even came out. So
Oh,
Oh,
really?
interesting.
I'm pretty sure.
So there's always a plan to do Hoodwink 2.
Yeah, I think we at least had the deal. Because again, we weren't working with contracts, and so
Right.
for the most part, everything sort of shook out the way we expected. But there was, I'll just say there were some reasons why we felt it best to just play nice, get Hoodwink 2 written, so they had it, and then it went into production maybe like a year after Hoodwink came out, but
Got
it
it.
was already kind of in the can as at least a first draft
Yeah.
script.
Interesting.
And I mean, the thing that I also think about and tell younger people who want to know about it is like, when you see a big movie and there might be like 7 names of people who wrote it, a lot of times I'll read things where people are like, why did it take 7 people to write this movie? It's like, well, it's not that it took 7 people to work on it. That's just how many people worked on it.
By the end, yeah.
Yes, you got to credit everyone who worked on it. So like,
Yeah, definitely.
you might have had a version of the script that you thought was perfectly ready to go, and then someone else comes along. And I think in Hoodwink 2's case, there were 4 writers. So there was my brother and I, and Tony, our other co-director. So it was the 3 of us, and then Mike Disa, the director, he kind of came in and did his pass. And so at that point we weren't involved. So I think the biggest sort of criticism of Hoodwink 2 is it just didn't feel like the first one. And I'm not saying it was all Mike's doing or whatever. There were, I think different people involved. The characters kind of got redesigned. We were kind of seeing from the side some of the choices were being made, and we were like, that's a little different. So it, anyhow, and from our opinion, Hoodwink 1 was kind of there's an old series of mystery. I think Ryan Johnson has really sort of like sort of drew from it
with the Knives Out movies.
Yes. There was a series called The Thin Man in the 50s, and one of our producers had pointed to that, and that's kind of where the Nicky Flippers character came from. He's sort of an homage to the Thin Man, sort of that classic old school detective who's smarter than the cops and who comes in and like figures everything out. And so, Hoodwinked 1 was kind of the film noir detective movie. And so Hoodwinked 2, the idea was like, well, let's parody, let's make it a little bigger. Let's parody, David Fincher and Michael Mann and the Lethal Weapon movies. Like we were trying to draw from some other stuff. And so in our minds, we were going to go hard with some of those references. And like, when John Painter and I were producing Hoodwink 1 soundtrack, he had a mantra that was like, we're not doing TV rock. And the idea was like, I mean, I think TV's gotten great in the but like back then, let's say like the early 2000s, like TV rock is just a way of referencing something that's like, there wasn't really the effort put in to make it sound like a real song.
Yeah.
It's just like it's like a parody of what a rock song might sound like.
Right.
And they spend 5 minutes on it. So like we
Like
were
if it
really
works,
set.
it works.
Yeah. And so I mean, and there were some shows that kind of changed that, like Phineas and Ferb and like, different ones. But like I think back then it was like you could find a ton of kids shows where it's like TV rock, not real, not the real instruments, not the real vibes. And so we really tried to bring that. And so I don't think there was anyone sort of watchdogging that stuff on Hoodwink 2, saying like, so like, I wrote like 8 or 9 songs for the original. They could have come to me and made a deal to write a few more songs. Nobody,
I'm surprised they didn't.
Nobody called, and not that I'm the only guy who could have done it. They could have
sure.
But there weren't really those song moments in it. There wasn't
No, there's not.
Just like, so like I said, when we wrote the script, we imagined it really going hard on David Fincher parody, Michael Mann parody. And so much of that is vibe. So it's like the opening scene, they're on a stakeout, and it was just supposed to be like rain. And at that time, I'm sure it'd be easier to do now.
Yeah.
We kind of heard
With
through the
rain.
grapevine, like, oh yeah, they cut the rain for the opening because that's too expensive. It's too hard.
Yeah.
We're just like,
Can't do it.
that's the whole opening is rain.
That's the whole point.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Seven, like it's just, we thought it was so hilarious to try to capture this Seven vibe
Mhm.
for the first 5 minutes of Hoodwinked 2. So once the rain's gone and we're not involved, we're not there to watchdog the tone.
Right.
Somebody else is coming. I'm not saying he's bad. It's just
Mhm.
like he was not there for the birth of what the thing even
Yeah,
was.
it's a different approach.
Yeah, so like
Uh.
it just kind of turned into a different thing. And there, like the troll bridge. Literally, I told you guys over email. I've only seen this movie twice.
Twice.
I was at the premiere and then I saw it one other time.
Yeah.
So we've seen
like-
it more.
Yeah.
You have. You should tell me about it. But the troll bridge scene where she's fighting the troll and he's like got this wacky voice. It's like
Yes.
the troll did not talk in our script.
Oh,
that
okay.
So
makes
that
more
seems
sense,
like a
to be
small
honest.
Yeah.
decision. It's like, well, just give him some funny lines. But it's like in our script, he was like a Lord of the Rings troll
Yeah.
with some
Right.
scary, and there, anyhow. So like those things that seem like a little decision kind of just change the whole DNA of what the thing
Yeah,
even
it
is.
adds up.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I think
definitely.
especially in
It's-
like a world like Hoodwinked, where a lot of it is very distinctive and unique, but also it's like formatted in such rich established things to kind of add stuff to it. You could easily break a world like that.
It's
And
a
you're right.
delicate.
Yeah, it's exact. It's a good word for it. It's so delicate.
There's another project that we had developed a few years ago, which I won't get into, but I kept telling the client who was funding it, I was like, there are a million ways for this idea to go wrong, and there's only a couple ways for it to go right. And this is one of those ways. And so like
Yeah.
that was kind of the mindset on Hoodwink. This could go wrong a million ways. This could just be bad Shrek. So like we have to have some very clear rules for how we're different.
right.
And just live by those. There are things we can't control the budget,
Mhm.
whatever,
yeah.
but like we can focus on what's the world that we're building.
Yeah.
Sure. And I think, and I'm not just saying this because you're staring at us, but I do think the first Hoodwinked, you can tell a lot of thought went into that and a lot of care went into like establishing this world and building the rules.
Yeah.
And Hoodwinked 2, we do like the movie. We do love the Hoodwinked like world. We genuinely do. But I think there are like expansions that work, and then there are some that do kind of break the world a little bit. And you're like, oh, like it was so close.
I mean, and I've kind of come full circle to believing, these IP, as we call it, these properties have long lives. And sometimes, someone will like reboot Mighty Mouse from 75 years ago.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Honestly.
I kind of believe that at some point there's a very good chance that someone will take it. We don't control the rights anymore, but like someone who knows what would make it good, I think might do something with it.
Pelton, let's do it. Yeah.
Let's do
Yeah,
it.
man. I mean, I would be excited to see that. I would be all for it.
Well,
As long as you're okay if we ask you to do the music again.
Yeah, exactly.
We got to get you back. There's no way.
Definitely.
Amazing. Well, Todd, we really appreciate your time. I do have one final question to close out here. Obviously, you have Hardy Howell Films, and similarly, Pals and I have a small production company. We're starting to do films, and obviously this podcast we're trying to grow it. So what advice would you give to filmmakers kind of like us that are kind of starting out with their own production company in the industry today?
Yeah. I mean, I think there are some things that have changed dramatically from when I was starting, and then there's some things that haven't changed.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just say the bar of entry is lower in terms of like you can make stuff way easier now that looks nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the hard part. The hard part is telling a good story. And so it's kind of crazy how like when we go out to pitch, like you just realize like people aren't worried about how's this going to look anymore. Like I had a moment, I didn't even see this movie, but I had a moment a couple years ago when it was, I think like not the Scarlett Johansson one, but the one before that, the Jurassic Park, where they got the three leads from the original together
Oh,
again.
yes.
And I didn't see that movie because ultimately I didn't hear good things, but like
Dominion, Jurassic World Dominion.
yeah,
Yeah.
but when that trailer hit and it was the three of them,
Yeah.
you heard gasps in the theater.
Mhm.
And
It was
that's
a big
when I
deal.
realized like I was like, I'm old enough now to remember when the gasps were about the visual effects, but
Yeah.
like we are in a post visual effect world now.
Mm-hmm.
What people get excited about are those characters.
It's
Yes.
story and character. Visual effects is
Yeah.
almost like a gimme at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like the bar of entry of shooting something that looks nice, that looks professional, yes, you can have bad sound or whatever, bad light, but like you can figure that out if you're a smart person who loves movies.
Mm-hmm.
So like what the story is that you're telling that's the big one. I still think that the festivals are a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think making shorts are a thing. I mean, like there's so many uh examples that you can look at from the last 25 years to the present where people are able to launch themselves. And I'd also say when you're young, you got that social media capital, man. It's going to go away eventually. But when you're in your 40s, you're not going to get your friend who has a baby to come out and shoot the thing on the weekend. So do it now. Do it
Yeah.
now.
Yep.
But yeah, the festivals, that's where you network. If you can be lucky enough to go around the country to a few of them,
Mm-hmm.
you meet like-minded people all over the place, and you just start building your network of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I always talk about Bottle Rocket. It's still one of my favorites.
Yes.
Yeah, and like
Rules.
those guys started with a pretty rugged short film,
Yeah.
and the right person saw it, got it to James L. Brooks. So they had gotten into Sundance, I think, with like the black and white. Get on YouTube if you haven't seen it. You guys probably have, but like listeners,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like it tells a story. If you look at how Wes Anderson and Owen and Luke did that, and then what they were able to grow it into. I mean, that's definitely sort of a one in a million rags to riches story, but the concept still holds, I think. Like
Mm-hmm.
go out, shoot something and it doesn't have to be like, here's the short version of our feature, but while you're developing your features, have things that are tonally similar. I mean, horror is doing it like crazy now.
Yeah.
What's his name? Krieger? What's the weapons guy?
Oh, yes.
Zach, is that?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Like that guy's killing it.
Mhm.
So many people in the horror
Yeah.
genre are killing it. Like I think they start with these small things, but then tonally they kind of build it.
Right.
And these are the people that just like if you can figure that out, like, I don't know, man. If I could do it again, the horror genre and the comedy world.
Mm-hmm.
You look at Bill Hader's career, look at Jordan
Yeah.
Peele's career. Like it's amazing how the
True.
industry lets you shift lanes. If you have hit it big in one area, then they kind of let you go do the other thing too.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I don't know. I was doing sketch comedy in college. I didn't think that was a path, so I didn't really pursue it. And those are the things. It's like, well, if I did it now, I might get into that more. Or you look at what the horror people are doing. That's a cool path. There's just different ways, but I think the appeal of horror in particular is it's a pretty forgiving genre in terms of low budget success stories.
Very, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that too. So like, I don't know. I just say keep looking at what your contemporaries and people who are a little bit ahead of you are doing, and what's the story of their career?
Mm-hmm.
What's the short they did that got them to this movie, that got them to that movie?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times you can just see it, and it's like, that's all you can do. Like nobody knows, like history's kind of being written every year in this industry.
Definitely.
And self distribution is probably going to become more and more of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
As scary as AI is, I still think the good version of where AI is going to go, from what I'm seeing, Ben Affleck was promoting this with his recent Netflix deal. I think 5-10 years from now, indie filmmakers can go into a black box, shoot a little movie with their friends, and then you can sort of like skin it with a bigger, more expensive
Probably,
looking
yeah.
production. I mean, that's the technology that's being worked on right now. And there's a lot of experimentation going on with that right now. The hope is that the script is coming from humans telling human stories, actors who are humans.
Mm-hmm.
And if that production can, I'm not saying it's there now, but like
Sure.
inevitably, like I think there's going to be, like, by the time I'm, in my 60s, I have a few scripts that might not get greenlit right now. I'm really focused on these animated projects, but there's a few in my mind. I'm like, when I'm a little older, the technology might get where we can make a movie for 50 grand and it looks like it's 20 million.
It's that caliber. Yeah.
I mean, it sounds crazy, but that's where it's headed. The good version of it is headed. Yeah, the bad versions were all plugged in like batteries.
Yeah.
Well,
Matrix.
there's that.
Gotta try and stay positive in this world, you know?
Yes.
Well, I do like, watching career trajectories and just focusing on like story and character and like
Yeah, because
really just
people,
hammering
even
that
like these
down.
big movies, it's weird to see the corporations kind of want it both ways because on one hand, it's like all this AI stuff is being pushed, but then you'll see like a big tentpole like Superman, and it's like James Gunn and the cast, and they're shooting like these little selfie videos
Yeah.
to promote it. Like it's
Mhm.
just we're just some friends making a movie. It's like it's
Yeah.
$200 million, but it's like
Yeah.
we're just some buddies making a movie. And like that's the story that hooks people, I think. It's like, oh, they're kind of like me.
Yeah, like
They're
humanizes
just
them in a way.
Mhm.
they're making stuff. And so
Yeah.
like if the studios are marketing their movies that way now, I gotta believe that that's still going to be a thing where you don't care. I mean, when I watch Lord of the Rings, I want to know that some dude worked for 2 years with pieces of plastic making like a million pieces of chainmail. Because to me,
Mhm.
that's part of the story. And I want to know Peter Jackson's horror movie origins that got him the deal with New Line. And it's like that's part of what makes it awesome. It's
Mhm.
not just the finished
Yeah,
product.
no, that's
It's like
true.
it's a whole thing. And it is not just film nerds who care about this stuff. There's a whole industry of like, I want to know how they made it and why they
Mhm.
made the creative decisions.
Yep.
And that's why this
So-
show exists.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and the podcast, I mean, it's amazing how I'm still lacking enough podcasts to listen to that is good analysis of film,
Yeah.
comedy, television. Like as much as we'd like to say there's too many, there's not enough great
There's
ones.
not enough.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
We try our best.
keep
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I have to ask one last question. As just a Hoodwinked fan, like my whole life, literally as long as I can remember, I have always had this question. Because you have the singing goat who says he was cursed by a witch. But he has a line where he speaks.
Yeah.
So can you definitively tell us right here, is he actually cursed or no?
That is so funny. I that is a great question. I mean, I literally wrote that line and I literally wrote that song. And I guess as a comedy person, I just love the fact that we don't know the answer.
We don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think maybe it's like a little of both. Maybe the curse that the witch put on him was kind of made him want to sing, but he doesn't have to, but he likes it. And
You can't help
I
it
don't know.
almost.
yeah, I mean, like, but I like not answering it. Like that just
Yeah.
made
Dang
us
it.
giggle
Dang it.
when we were making
No,
it.
it almost
Yeah.
works better. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. So
Well-
I guess I don't know for sure.
No one knows.
Exactly. But yes, thank you so much, Todd, for being here. We truly, truly, truly appreciate your time and your insight on not only the industry, but also about your career and kind of your career trajectory. Truly appreciate you having you here.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks, guys. This was really fun.
No, and again, I know I said it up front, but like, I cannot tell you how much Hoodwinked like played a part in our youth and just left such an impact on us. Like, it's probably, I'm sure a psychiatrist would sit down and say it's probably a good reason we make movies to this day. So seriously, thank you so much for just making this a reality, and this was awesome.
Really awesome to hear. Thank you, guys.
Okay, we are back. Todd, thank you so much for being on the show. We truly, truly appreciated having that man on and talking about our beloved Hoodwinked.
Dude, it's so bizarre because like
so insane.
Hoodwinked was so big for most of my life, and just be like, yeah, I made it.
Yeah.
And he now knows we're people. Like, that's crazy.
And he agreed to do the show. So you know
I don't
what?
know why. I really don't. Clearly he didn't do his research beforehand.
Yeah, no, truly
And
we
look
are
into us.
so grateful to have him on. And now we get to talk about the plot of Hoodwinked 2, which I know we talked about in our interview. He had a little bit of a hand in, writing the initial pass of, but here we go. Let's talk plot. So we open with a quick recap of the first movie, narrated by Flippers, the head of the HEA Society, the Happily Ever After Society, which we see at the end of the movie. He's the, Nicky Flippers. He comes in, he recruits all of our heroes, and now they're in like this police agency, essentially.
Also, I don't know why, but just the way you said Nicky Flippers, I wanted to be like, all right, take it easy.
Yeah. I
It
tried
just
so
sounds
hard
like-
to emphasize.
I know. Shut up, Nicky Flippers. You're like, whoa.
Yo, 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 yo.
You can't say that anymore, dude.
Yeah. So we see that Granny, Wolf, Twitchy, and Flippers are working together to stop the witch that has kidnapped Hansel and Gretel.
Cool
Classic
start.
fairy tale start. And I must say, just getting right into the thoughts here, this was my favorite part of the movie.
I 100%
Like
agree.
it felt, as we talked about a little bit earlier, it felt like we were back in that world. It felt like very grounded and still very small scale, but to a point where the world is still very believable.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
You don't get too overblown, which I feel like it comes in a little bit later. But this moment was really, really killer.
I think, okay, this was also my favorite part of the movie. Because it also already, from the beginning, it sets up like the sister of the Hood. You have Hansel and Gretel. You have like the continuation of this world, how far that this like corporation has come. I'm like, oh, this is perfect. We're already expanding. We're already adding more. And I'm so in. The only thing, and it's my biggest complaint with this movie, and it gets worse as the movie progresses, is they take Little Red out of the crew from the jump.
Yes.
Literally from the opening scene, she's doing her own thing. She's in a different part of the world.
Right.
And I'm like, why would you do that?
Yeah, and here's my thing is like, I said in the Hoodwinked episode, and I potentially earlier on the show,
Probably.
that, my favorite part of the movie was Wolf, was Patrick Warburton. And at first I was like, man, it's great to see him in the lead.
Well.
And then as it progresses, you run into that like Patrick SpongeBob thing where you're like, I love him as the sidekick.
As the
Like I
sidekick,
love
and
him
also,
as the
like-
number two. He's the best number two you could possibly have. But carrying a movie, it just doesn't work as well.
Well, it's a bizarre decision to, one, make him be the lead of the movie, and Little Red is kind of doing her own side quest. But then also, if he's going to be the lead, it's kind of weird to then dumb him down a little.
Yeah.
Where he's so not as like smart as he was in the first one, and his jokes are a little more like childish than in the first one.
Right.
He almost doesn't feel like the same character.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, not only did you make him the lead, but you made him dumber.
True. And I also want to pivot really quickly over to the animation side of things. Because we talked about how they put they went to a Toronto-based company and they, put a little bit more money into animation. And overall, I think their goal of getting the animation kind of a little bit better, a little bit more palatable, works. The problem I have with the animation is that you're trying to create the same characters in a quote-unquote better animation style, but it's the same like character build from the original that like had the limitations. So it looks like a weird parody of itself for almost every character except for Wolf. I think he looks wonderful.
He looks great.
That was the one character where like from the beginning, and I think he's one of the first characters you see. And I was like, oh my God, the animation, they did so much better. And then as the story progresses and you start to see, especially Red, I was like,
Red and Granny.
Oh. I almost prefer the first one.
Yes,
and
right?
I was like, I was kicking myself because I was like, this movie almost made me be like, I like the first animation style, and I don't. That's the thing.
Yes, you do. You do deep down. I know you do. You won't admit it, but I'll off air.
It has its charms, and again, there's the nostalgia for it. On an objective level, meh. But
Well, okay, that's the weird part, right? Is on an objective level, the animation in Hoodwinked 2 is better than the animation in Hoodwinked.
Yes.
Singular. However, I think the first Hoodwinked, like I said earlier, has such a unique look to it that in Hoodwinked 2, from an animation perspective, there's almost two ways to go of like, okay, we lean into the uniqueness, we make it better, but these movies will have a very distinct visual style forever. Or do we try to like, yes, stay close to the original, but also just make this look more like a good animated movie? And they went for the second one.
yeah.
But by doing that, you take character designs that are very unique and just making them more bland.
Well, and the character designs are specifically designed because of the limitations of their initial budget.
Exactly.
They couldn't do anything better. So
now they just
rather
look
than
like generic versions
yeah,
of the first
exactly.
movie.
Exactly.
But I'm like, oh, it took all the artistry and fun out of it. Like, this just looks like the corporate version of Hoodwinked.
Right. Yeah.
And again, good intentions. Objectively, it is better. But like,
Yeah.
there is something that is so distinct about that first one that you're like, fuck, I do kind of miss that. Like,
Yes, I missed it, and it is
right?
unique.
You do.
But I will say, Wolf did look great.
Wolf looks great.
I was very happy with that.
I think the biggest where it kind of falls apart is the human characters.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, and I get they're trying to make them look better, but
Yep.
I say
It's
go
tough.
the opposite route.
No, make them look worse.
Make them worse. Embrace the shitty animation, man. Let's
Yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah. Just make them polygons, make them triangles, make
It's
them
like Minecraft.
yeah.
Let's do it.
So Twitchy tries to save the kids, Hansel and Gretel, but the witch catches on to the plan and escapes the premises. Now, I made a note at this point. I just said, is this just Cars 2? Like just a spy version of the first movie that had way more heart, like the first movie having way more heart, and then
You mean
made a
everyone's
shitty spy
favorite
version.
Cars movie?
Exactly. I was like, what's going on here? And obviously it doesn't end up being that, but I was like, wow, that's wild. Just this sequence, I was like, oh. So there's a chase sequence that happens with a quick little bit with Japheth, the goat guy.
The goat? You mean the greatest character ever created in any movie ever?
Yeah.
Yes.
That scene rules, and I liked his bits in this movie so much. I was so in on this character, and he had his moments in the first Hoodwinked, but I was so in on him this one.
See, I preferred him in the first Hoodwinked.
Interesting.
Well, because only in the second one he's just a bit, where in the first one he's still like part of the plot.
Yeah. He is a little
what I mean?
bit, but I do like that as like a recurring bit.
No, it's like an Ice
his
Age
cutaway. It's so funny.
It's like, what's the stupid squirrel's name in Ice Age?
Oh yeah. He's
like a muskrat.
Oh,
isn't
Scrat.
Scrat.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like a Scrat thing, but kind of better.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I think so.
Ice
I
Age.
think so. It's really fun. So Granny gets captured by the witch, and she tells Wolf to get Red to help out. Now this is where we finally get our first glimpse of Red, like 10 minutes into the movie.
This
So
is also
she's-
what I don't like.
Yeah, sure. This side plot, I was a little like, I don't.
Well, it's not okay. It's not only that. Okay, I'm gonna talk to you in Marvel terms.
Yeah.
Because it's all I know how to speak when
Yeah.
it comes to talking about movies.
How you communicate your feelings?
Oh yeah, well, if I'm like with a woman, I'm like, have you ever seen the Marvels?
Yeah, I love you like Hawkeye's wife loves him.
I love you 3000. But okay, there's Avengers where the team assembles. Mm-hmm. That's your Hoodwinked.
Okay.
And then there's Avengers Age of Ultron where the team's together and they're doing a little thing together. Mm-hmm. Like sure there's conflict and Thor breaks off for a second, but he comes back pretty quickly. And they're a team. The whole movie they're a team. Mm-hmm. And then Infinity War is the one where they're all broken up. Mm-hmm. But that's why Age of Ultron works.
Sure.
Is it establishes the team, establishes the dynamic. You believe this team is real. You believe they function. And when they actually end up breaking up, it's heartbreaking.
Right.
Now, Hoodwinked is Avengers, like we established. And then Hoodwinked 2, it's like it cuts right to Infinity War. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, Hoodwinked ended with this team forming, and then you go right to them where Red's gone, Granny gets kidnapped, and we never see them together, ever.
Right. It's almost like, I think this happened in Scooby-Doo, right?
Yes.
Where
it's
like
my
they
biggest
split
problem
up
with that movie.
and you're like, why? Like it's very interesting, and that's how like the movie starts, is them breaking up.
Yeah.
So,
Scooby-Doo
yeah, it
really
was
starts with them breaking up.
It was a
bad
very
decision.
very strange decision, but yes,
I know, because like if you had a Hoodwink 2 where it was just like, hey, we established this team, here's a team working together. There could still be
For the whole
conflict,
movie.
obviously.
Yeah.
For the whole movie, you can separate them for a little bit, but we get to know this team, we get to know the world, and then Hoodwink 3, because it would have made billions of dollars if I got to write Hoodwink 2. Hoodwink 3, then you can do that.
right. Exactly.
Red's off to train like Luke or whatever. You could do anything you want.
you need that context. So you do make a good point there, even if
'Cause now
Avengers is how
yeah.
you express your emotion.
That's how I express my whole life.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it.
Granny kidnapped for 2 films straight. Come on.
Yeah.
I want to see her interact with these people.
It's tough.
Like I don't think we ever got like the Granny and the frog. Like we got them for like maybe a couple scenes in the first one.
Like
but,
the Princess and the Frog.
yeah, but I've never seen that. So because it's not Marvel, so I can't respond to that.
That's true. That's true.
Is Iron Man in it?
He does make a cameo appearance, but
Oh, then I have to watch it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm actually
I
surprised
didn't
you haven't
realize
gone to it yet.
it's in the MCU. I didn't realize that.
So Red is in training with a mysterious group called the Sisters of the Hood, where she learns that a secret, all-powerful truffle recipe has been stolen. She is assigned by Flippers, along with Wolf and Twitchy, to find the recipe and save her grandma.
Okay, this is another one. I feel like I'm really harping on this movie, and like, I feel like I'm coming across like I hate this movie.
No.
Which, well, I
Yeah.
do have like thoughts on it.
Sure,
so I feel bad.
I feel the same.
But for such a creative first film, and you could tell like, a lot of thought and care went into it, just to one, separate all the characters, which I'm like, oh, that's such a missed opportunity. And two, to be like, oh, another recipe stolen, and she has to save grandma again. I'm like, oh, I just did this. Like, I just watched it.
Yeah. Exactly. Especially considering we watched both of them.
You could eat back to back. But I'm like, why does it have to be a recipe?
Right.
It's such a big, creative, expansive world. Why are you stuck on this? No, another recipe stolen.
Yeah. Yeah. They could have done a lot of different things, but they were harping on the recipe. It's interesting.
I know. It's another death. It's Star Killer base. I can talk Star Wars. You know what?
True. Hey,
it's Marvel and Star Wars. That's how I speak.
I'm finding that you're a pretty big Disney guy. We
Busted.
found out over the last like 10 to 15 episodes that you've your whole life.
I have no
slowly
comment.
And now you got the film branches. You got Star Wars. You got Marvel. You got
I don't like
you got
it.
Pixar. You got like I'm gonna wean you into Disney.
It's true. Dude,
animation. I'm gonna
I'm
wean you
becoming
in
a
there.
corporate shill.
But then you also have the park side. And now, like you're getting there. I'm turning you. Now I just got
fucked up.
Put you on a National Geographic and ESPN.
That's the one thing you will never get me to do.
ESPN, yeah. Want to watch March Madness? It's on. Okay.
No, put on Age of Ultron. Let's go.
So the witch interrogates Granny for the recipe and reveals that she has it all written down besides the secret ingredient. And Granny agrees to make the truffles in exchange for Hansel and Gretel's life. So she basically blackmails her. She's like, I got these kids. I'm going to kill them, basically.
Yeah,
so you
why
have
not?
to make these truffles that I think make a person, like, invincible, all-powerful.
Yeah, and they make them invincible, but also bigger.
Just, like, huge. But do they
quite
explain
literally,
that?
like,
Or does that just
I
happen?
don't think so. I think you
I
just
don't
become
think they
like
do,
Godzilla
right? Like,
size.
they're invincible. That's the whole premise.
Yeah,
But then we
that's
find
it.
out later that they actually just get physically larger.
These get fucking massive.
Which, like, if I was her, I wouldn't want that. Like, then my whole life
No.
changes. I have to get new clothes.
feels awful.
I have to find a new place to live. I have to go up in the mountains.
Also, like, okay, initially where I'm like, well, maybe you didn't know you just get bigger.
Yeah,
Like, you
right.
thought it would be invincible. But if the lore behind it is, hey, if you eat this, and I think it's literally just like a black truffle chocolate cake thing. If you eat this cake, you'll become invincible. That means someone in the past must have done it at least once.
Right. So there's
So
like
they
an
know.
eternal entity.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it's established in this world that this has happened and like this is a thing. If you eat this thing, you become invincible.
Yes.
But then that you just become like a giant beach ball.
Yeah, where is the... No, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, that person is now in the... It's like the mountain guardian. Like, they're
I know.
up in the mountains and, like... they're up in the mountains. They're, like, defending some guy who has a bunch of trauma. So it's just, like... they're just up there and they're doing their thing. You know what I mean?
It is weird that invincible in this world means Godzilla beach ball.
Yeah.
That's all it becomes. And then I don't think
Yeah.
they fix them, right?
No.
Like at the end of the movie, they're just big now.
I think they're just giant Hansel and Gretel. And again, do they roll them off into the sea? Like, what do they do?
Just drown them.
Yeah.
Try again.
You go live here now. Yes, it is. It's very... This whole, like, MacGuffin of this movie is so interesting.
It makes no sense.
Because, it does feel very shoehorned of, like, yes, at the end of the first movie, they joined the HEA, which is, like, this secret police society.
The Happily Ever
And-
After agency.
Exactly.
It's awesome.
They have to, like, find a crime to solve and, like, all this stuff. They have to do a noir again. Like you know, it's a very interesting, like, shoehorn.
It's also like, okay, do they? Like the first movie is like a murder mystery. It's like
Yeah.
Clue. It's
Yeah.
like Murder on the Orient Express, whatever. This one has moments where it's like Goodfellas, but then it's like Mission Impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's like, what's a Marvel movie I could connect this to? No,
Marvel Zombies.
yeah, it's like Ice of Wakanda episode 2. It very much like just dips into other genres, but then also does the murder mystery film noir thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, just commit to one.
Yeah.
Like that'd be kind of cool if the first movie was like this like very film noir detective-y thing, and the second one, maybe not spy because that's what Cars 2 did.
Yeah.
But like you could just do this is a mob movie now. This one is like
Right.
the Godfather of Hoodwinked.
Right. And it could still have heart. It could still have,
Yeah.
like, interesting, conflict, but...
And it already has elements of that. It's just
Yeah.
for like 20 minutes, and they move on to a different genre.
Right.
I like genre hops the whole time. I'm like, no, just do one and just like really commit to it because that's
Yeah.
what made the first movie so great.
Yeah, 100%. So,
Let's redo Hoodwinked.
let's do it.
Let's
I mean,
do
we
it.
have
And then
the
you know
guy.
what? Hoodwinked cereal.
Yeah, let's get
Come on.
let's get Patrick Warburton. So
If we have to.
if we have to. So Wolf, Twitchy, and Red go to the big city to find Granny, and this is where I think like practically the whole world falls apart. And we get a few background cameos of the bear cop and the lizard agent to the woodsman, who is also like now a big time actor. We'll get to him in a minute. But we have these cameos of the characters from the first movie, and it's interesting because it's like, did they just reuse the same like character rigs? But then also now that I'm thinking about it, it's a different company, and usually the rigs are proprietary to VFX companies, animation companies.
Remake them.
And then also they updated the animation, so like how does that work? But it's cool that if they did rebuild them and it wasn't just like for budgetary purposes, that they did throw in these cameos. I thought that was super fun.
It's a nice little nod. You can tell there is respect for the first one.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a different company took it over and they're like, fuck that thing, that looked terrible. We're gonna make like a much better one.
Yeah, you could tell it was
like,
handed
no.
off by the people who created it.
Yeah, exactly.
In the beginning, like they found someone they trusted and they did it. So they go into a club and they meet the Giant, which is a suspect of Red's for who kind of stole this, who proceeds to do a few lines from Goodfellas. He does like the "Do I amuse
straight
you?"
up.
They have multiple of these, which we'll get to throughout this episode. But they have like way more of these weird references than I ever would have thought.
Yes, it's not even a parody. They just like steal it.
And also, like the first movie didn't do this.
No, not this
It felt
overtly.
so
No.
jarring. But so he ends up loving Wolf, but hates Red because she accuses him of stealing the ingredient.
So who wouldn't love Wolf? It's Patrick Warburton.
Exactly.
Come on, I almost got a shirt with him.
They just like in the whole world, like he is Wolf, but they're just like, you're Patrick Warburton.
You're
Like,
Patrick
what the fuck?
Warburton. You're in Skylanders.
Yeah, exactly. You're in Soren. So the harp, who has a face in the show that's playing at this club, gives them information that the Giant is giving ingredients to Boingo the Bunny, who is the villain from the first movie. Of course he's back. This is why it has to be ingredients, because he's a little, goody bandit.
Okay, I don't know if you agree with this. He should not be in the movie at all.
No, not at all.
It makes it feel small.
That he is the weird, like, third party. Like it goes through him. Like there's no like
It's so
direct.
bizarre.
Like it has to go through him. There's no like direct correlation between the Giant and the witch and Hansel and Gretel, which we'll get to. But
It's like, okay, this might come up a couple times while doing summer sequels, but like sequels and franchises tend to fall into that trap where it's like, okay, you could watch The Hobbit or the Rings of Power TV show, and they're always bringing up Sauron.
yes,
But because of that, it just makes the world feel so small.
yeah.
Like,
100%.
oh, there's no other evil person besides Sauron ever.
right.
You're like, no, I want to see different. Like, you could really go crazy with this.
Yeah. Well, okay. Going to your Marvel example.
Okay.
What was that Halloween special that they put out? Werewolf by Night.
Werewolf by Night, I believe.
Yes. So I think that one does a spectacular job at making the world, I mean, among many others, but making the world feel completely huge and like infinite.
Yes.
Because it has like this
100%.
specific creature. It has a very like, condensed and contained story, but it does still feel like all of this could be connected, but they never reference the snap. They never reference Thanos. They never reference Thor. Like it does feel like it's its own thing, and you still feel like you're part of that universe.
Yeah.
So
And I think like
Yeah.
Werewolf by Night, where it could have failed, is if they set up the same exact premise, but they're like, all right, the monster we're hunting is Abomination.
right.
And you're like, oh, I know.
Yeah.
He was in Incredible Hulk. He's in
Okay.
She-Hulk. I get it. But the fact that it's all new characters, it's all new lore, and they just so committed to it, you're right, makes like it's just another thing that makes the MCU feel so big.
Right.
But in this, it's like, hey, there's a crime. Oh, it's the bunny again. You're like,
Yeah.
man.
Okay.
Or at least like the bunny's involved. Like he should save him for the third one.
Exactly. So they meet Boingo at the local prison, which is a scene straight out of Silence of the Lambs. And Boingo tells them that he has been delivering ingredients to the witch, and he also says that just as an aside, that nobody reads books anymore, and that movies are always better, especially sequels. Which again is like a little wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And I feel like they do this so much in this movie because like he's in a Silence of the Lambs scene and says that sequels are better to the audience, like looks into the camera. It's so insane.
Hoodie goes like Nick Warner and Matthew Pelton.
Yeah.
Sequels are better.
Sequels are better. Please
hey,
talk highly of this movie.
You're going to hate me for saying this, but this reminds me of X-Men Apocalypse.
Perfect.
Well, okay, because there's always that like low-hanging meta joke.
Yes.
Fruit. You know what I mean? Of like the fucking stupid bunny played by Andy Dick.
Yeah.
Said it in this one where he's like, "Oh, like sequels are always better." Ha ha ha. And then in X-Men Apocalypse, they're leaving a theater and they had just watched Return of the Jedi, and the guy playing Cyclops is like, "Oh, the third one's always the worst," and it's meant to be a joke on X-Men 3. Which at the time was the worst one, but also X-Men Apocalypse in this new movies is the third one, and it's bad.
That's interesting.
So it's like, are you admitting that like your movie sucks? Like, what's going on right now?
That's insane. Yeah, they have these weird moments. Like even later in the movie, I don't think I made a note of it, but there was a moment where it said there was like font in the city on a building. And it was like a Disney reference, and it was in the Disney font.
Yeah.
And I don't remember exactly what it said, but it was like this is like how is it like the parody clause? Like how are they getting around this? It's very interesting, and it's also interesting that like they did go so hard into this when in the first movie there wasn't really that. Like they have the only real parody is just like the character tropes of like you have the big bad wolf who's actually like this smart kind dude. Et cetera, et cetera. But
and Little Red, you think is like a helpless victim, or really?
Right.
In the movie, she isn't at
Master
all.
of Quack Fu. It's so insane. But
she's not that level. Okay,
right.
Let's take it easy.
Right. But yeah, it is interesting. So Granny delays her cooking for the witch and escapes, but realizes when she tries to break Hansel and Gretel out that they're actually evil. In fact, they have been pulling the strings the whole time. Now, when I was watching this as a kid, had no idea. Could have never guessed. This took me by such surprise. Now, obviously, as I was watching this, I was like, yeah, there's got to be something going on there. Because they're like watching TV, not like locked up when she comes in. She's like, come on, let's go, guys. And they're like, oh, you fucked up.
Okay, you know what? I like it.
I liked it too. It was a great little twist.
It's a nice little twist.
Why did it come 25 minutes into the movie? I don't know.
Thank you. Dude, okay, hang on. Wait. It comes in at exactly, I think, I could be wrong because I took this note after, but I believe it comes in literally 32 minutes into an hour and 30 film.
That makes sense.
And you have the line of like, you just got hoodwinked too.
Yes.
But you still have majority of the movie left.
No, it feels so strange because again, if you took that entire segment, their reveal, and remove it from the movie, call it a short film, I would probably love it.
It'd be great.
Because again, as we said in the beginning, we like both love the like setup and the storytelling and the expanding the universe in this like very condensed way. And then you have like the twist, but then you have another hour of like nonsense.
Yeah.
So
we're like
yes,
in the first movie you have like the bunny twist, but you get that in the last like 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Like you think it's all wrapped up, and then you're like, wait a minute, there's more going on.
Flippers comes in, he's like, I figured it out.
Okay, you can't say the F word anymore, man. What are you doing? But in this one, you're right. It's like an hour 30. It's literally 1/3 of the way through.
Yeah.
It's like, like why? Yeah. Just literally just move that to the end of the movie, and I think the pacing would have been like instantly solved.
100%. But yes, so while this is all happening, the witch reveals that she and Granny actually knew each other in the sisterhood, and she was always second to Granny. So while Granny was out doing her thing, this it's like again, going back to Marvel, who's the guy in
If You Insist, what's up?
was it Spider-Man where he's like second to Stark?
What do you mean?
The guy who was like I wasn't it
It happens a couple times. This is Justin Hammer in Iron Man 2. Is that what you're talking about?
potentially. Who's the is it Jake Gyllenhaal?
Oh yeah, that's Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah, isn't his whole thing about his character that he wasn't as good as Tony Stark?
Kind of. It was like he worked for Stark, and then Stark like took his technology and just like shit on it.
Okay, then maybe I'm thinking of Iron Man 2, but isn't there like a whole plot device of like I was always second?
Yeah, that's
to
Hammer.
This guy? Yes,
Hammer technology is like never taken as seriously as Stark. Yeah,
right. It felt like that, and I was like, I don't know if this was good for this movie.
Okay, in Iron Man 2, it's brilliant.
No, in Iron Man 2, but that's the whole point is like you're trying to expand the world in a sequel. That's the go-to. Like, why? I don't know.
I know it's such a tough one because in the sequel, like we said, and I really want to, I do want to harp on it because, like, I know we keep making fun of this movie and ragging on it, but there is, once again, like, genuine care for this world and for, like, the creative people and the characters, all this stuff. And some of the expansion works, but man, it does just fall apart in a lot of different areas. Where it's like the reveal's so quick and grandma's kidnapped and you have this major city, which is cool on paper. Like, you see the world outside of the forest that we spent the whole first movie in.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know if it's because the budget's big in this one. The city felt so small. Like, there wasn't a lot of extras walking around all the time. It was like, a lot of the time it was just Wolf and Red
It was
in the shot.
completely empty. Yeah.
It's completely empty. I'm like, it's like COVID city. I'm like,
city.
what's going on? So I told you, this is a heartbreaking episode.
Yeah.
So let's just talk about Marvel.
Yeah. One more thing I want to also note is that the witch also admits that she has done things in the process of finding secret ingredient, and this includes poisoning apples, turning men into frogs, and some other Disney Easter eggs. So this is like, it's like kind of connecting in that, like, she is the cause of a lot of these Disney downfalls. But I thought it was really interesting.
Cool idea.
Yeah, it's a cool thing to kind of tie in, but it's again so wild that they could get away with that. Again, parody, all of that. It's like technically fine, but yeah, it's so interesting.
Also, wait a minute. Wait a minute. She's the cause of all these, like, famous fairy tales, right? Poison apples and shit. But isn't the whole point of this movie that she's not really the villain?
Yes.
What?
She's not really the villain. Yeah, it's so interesting because, like, she's almost, like, bullied by these two kids that are pulling the strings.
Almost.
And she's like, not that, like, she can't fend for herself, but it almost feels like she needs that. Like, she needs that authority. So the fact that she's doing all of this, or so she says, but she was still second to Granny. That's what's insane.
I know, that's the confusing part.
Like, they set her up as, like, this incapable person, but then she goes and, like, has this throwaway line of, like, yeah, I caused all these major, like, catastrophic things in the entire world. Like, you're telling me you created, like, a potion that turned men into frogs? That's insane.
That's a pretty big deal.
It's a pretty big deal.
Especially in this world, she would be famous.
Yeah. Like, how many people are not dead, like, that are just frogs? Missing people, like, all this. There's so many, like, bigger implications here that just, like, you know, they go missing, but no, they're just turned into frogs.
Dude, she should be put in a fucking cage, dude.
Yeah, poison apples.
Gotta arrest this
I'm
girl.
not eating fruit anymore. Fuck that. It's
But then it's like the Hansel and Gretel twist. Like, I don't know. It's almost like they came up with the twist and they're like, oh, that's a cool idea.
Yeah.
And they put it in, and then they forgot to, like, go back and be like, wait. We gotta change how this, like, witch lady works.
Yeah,
For the
exactly.
twist. They just fucking went ham on it. And they're like, the Burger King toys.
So Red realizes that Dark Castle Towers is the location of Granny and the kids. But when she tells Flippers, we see that Hansel and Gretel are listening in.
You gotta stop using that word. What are you doing?
Hey, our guest said it, so you know what?
Okay,
Fuck
he
off.
made the word. Okay,
I
he
know,
gets
I know.
to use it.
He has a pass. So the three little pigs show up, and they blow up Wolf's house, quite literally. Or so they think. But they literally have a rocket launcher, which I thought was hysterical.
Now, also, okay, the three little pigs show up, but then they also show, like, a fourth and fifth one later on in the movie.
Yes, it's like a clan.
Yeah, it's like a whole clan.
Yeah.
And then also, isn't there a line in the first Hoodwinked of, like, the three little pigs are doing, like, a housing scam? I think, like, Patrick Warburton has a line.
That. Maybe.
I remember it made me giggle, and then...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I watched these two movies back to back.
That's
So
pretty good.
They show up as mercenaries. I'm like, oh, so are these three just, like, the ultimate evil of the Hoodwinked world?
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, and continuing on, they do blow up Wolf, Twitchy, and subsequently the goat who's trying to escape the traumatic city.
The best character ever.
Exactly, but it's insane. Like they're going for their throats here. Like they're really going for it.
I know. Like, I do think out of everyone we met, they might be the most evil characters.
They
in
should
all
be
of
the
Hoodwinked.
villains of Hoodwink 3 when we make it, inevitably.
Well, we have the blessing.
We have
of
the
Todd
blessing.
Edwards. We didn't get that word for word, but we're gonna run with it.
No. But yes, so Wolf and Twitchy are in fact alive, thank God, and so is the goat. But they save Red from the little pigs, and Granny is still not budging on creating these truffles. So the trio recruit Kirk, their woodsman actor friend, and he brings along his happy yodeler team to help as well. And Red accidentally reveals the final ingredient for the truffle recipe macadamia nuts.
Macadamia nuts.
And the truffles are made.
Okay, I know I ragged on the recipe thing earlier. Mm-hmm. I'm like, it was a stolen recipe the first movie, stolen recipe the second movie. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be honest. I know we just did this with Andy and salmon, but after watching these movies, I'm making a black truffle cake tonight. Like, it's already done.
How was your salmon, by the way?
Thank you for asking. It was fucking delicious.
I thought you were going to say terrible. I was like, no.
No, because you know what we did?
You did your own recipe, or did you add Andy's in a little bit?
No, I did my own.
Okay.
Nice try, Anderson. I did my own, and then we mixed it with rice and veggies in a Thai chili sauce.
Oh.
Check that out. Mm-hmm.
Okay, fancy.
Then I got the
Throw
little,
your pinky in the air.
Oh, that's what I had a little wine glass of Celsius. It was
no
big
God.
deal. Can I be honest? I started drinking my Celsius out of a wine glass. Best decision I ever made.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you were injecting it into your veins.
No,
at
Jesus
this point,
Christ, what?
I expect you to be doing that.
You're a psychopath. You know what happened, though? Sorry, not to derail Hoodwinked 2, but you asked about my salmon. That's what's going to happen.
No, please.
But I do a lot of Thai chili sauce. It's the best part. Mm-hmm. And then in the Thai chili sauce, the one we get, there's like these little red flakes. Mm-hmm. The
little red.
It all connects. There's this little Red Riding Hood flakes.
Yeah.
And the problem is they get all in my teeth. They get up on my grill. So I have to brush my teeth like 4 times after eating it. And even then, I swear to God, I had salmon, and I woke up the next day, and I was eating a bowl of cereal, and I'm like, why does my cereal taste like Thai chili sauce?
No way.
It's fucking gross.
Are you like using mouthwash? Like, what's going on here?
No, I just don't brush ever.
It's like, that's why.
I refuse. You should see Nick in his pearly whites, dude. It's crazy.
Oh my god. I knew it was coming back. I knew it was coming back to this. Okay, moving on with Hoodwinked 2. So Hansel and Gretel eat the truffles, which make them not only invincible, but they grow in size, as we mentioned before.
I don't know if it makes them invincible at all. I think this makes it big.
I don't know. Yeah, they just grow into giants. And then they go on a rampage through the big city. And they also betray Verushka, who is the witch. That is her actual name.
So I have a question about these two knuckleheads here.
Yes.
And it might be a dumb question to ask.
Okay.
In context of Hoodwinked 2. Mm-hmm. Do we know, like, why they're evil? Like, what's the motivation? That sounds like such a film bro question. I'm so sorry. But, like, what's the mise en scène of Hansel and Gretel?
They're just evil little twins. I don't know.
They're just, like, evil little kids, right?
Yeah, they just want to, like, fuck around. I'm sure there's some sort of backstory of, like, my parents left us. You know, like, there's, like, a whole thing there.
What was that?
You know, that was my Bill Hader Hansel.
I loved it.
So yeah, I have all the voices for this episode. I have Patrick Warburton, I have the little Danish kids. You know,
you started this recording by doing a Patrick Warburton like Greenlit intro.
Should I just keep it?
So you didn't finish it. Can you inject it right here?
Hello and welcome to I Can't Believe This Got Greenlit 2, the Summer of Sequels, a show where we discuss sequels from our childhood, our nostalgia from watching them as kids, how these franchises got made yet again, and our experiences rewatching them as adults. I'm one of your hosts, Patrick Warburton. Joining me as always, Matthew Pelton.
How the fuck do you do that? That's crazy. Wait, can I attempt?
Okay.
Hey, it's me.
What's up?
It's me, Patrick Warburton.
That was good. If we ever get him on the show, we can never have him listen to this episode.
No, that's how when he hops on the episode, those are our real voices. Hi, I'm Matthew Pelton.
So he's like, all right, Pelton, you need to hang up. Yeah. Okay, so continuing on here. Kirk and the Happy Yodelers save the gang from a giant spider. And Granny saves Verushka from falling to her death. This is where the movie kind of unravels here. So it really does. Just everything kind of happens all at once. So it's kind of insane.
I will say, I like the witch and the grandma scene.
Yeah. No, I like that they're, working together.
Yeah.
And they kind of come around, and that whole thing is great. But it's just like how this movie ends is so insane. The Hansel and Gretel, they explode.
Turn to giant beach balls.
And there's the spider, and it's just in the city, and the city's being destroyed. It's Godzilla. Like, it's fucking insane.
Yeah, it does just become like a catastrophe.
It's so wild. So Wolf and Red put aside their differences and become friends and partners. and we see the goat sing one last time as Hansel and Gretel continue to destroy the city.
Yeah, but they killed the goat.
Well, yes, he like falls to his death basically. But before this happens, he's singing Italian, like he's doing like this Italian
opera.
singing, and it is so good. And I was genuinely belly laughing at this bit. Because he says something about like how this is gonna be like his final performance or whatever. He's like, oh, I finally have to like break free of whatever, and then he starts doing this Italian opera, and I lost it. I don't know if it was because the voice and the animation and like just how crazy it was, how out of nowhere it was, but I was genuinely so in during these like 15 seconds.
The goat is one of the best parts of the first Hoodwinked.
Yes.
With Patrick Warburton, obviously.
Of course. Yes.
And then even in this one, the goat is still the best part, even if the bits aren't as connected as like the first one.
Sure.
So I will say, him singing opera is the best joke in the whole movie.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It's so funny.
I literally wrote, because I take notes for the show now, because I try to give a shit a little.
Yeah.
And I just put goat singing opera equals awesome with like 40 exclamation
It was
marks.
unreal. Like, man, he thought I was crazy because I was just genuinely like,
it's so
like
good.
holding my belly, just like laughing like a maniac because it was just him singing.
It's
It was
good.
awesome.
Like,
It was really awesome.
you know what? The goat's the standout. Give him his own movie. Hoodwink 3.
It's the goat.
Goat's coming
goat.
back.
Yeah. So the gang convince Hansel and Gretel to eat more truffles after fighting them for a little bit, and they blow up enough to become balloons, and this is when they get arrested. So again, did they get rolled off into like the Red Sea? Who knows?
Yeah, I think they're murdered.
Yeah.
They're never heard or seen from again.
The HEA actually commits murder. So Red,
A lot.
Twitchy, and Wolf ride off to their next adventure, and all's well in the world. And that, everyone, after a very long episode, is Hoodwinked 2. So going into final thoughts, Pelton, I'm going to throw it over to you because this, as people know, we kind of go back and forth picking the movies. And when we were picking sequels, this was one of the first choices was Hoodwinked 2.
Yes.
So because it was your choice, I'm going to throw it over to you. So final thoughts.
Well, as I've said, Hoodwinked was a big movie when I was young. Mm-hmm. Big fan of Hoodwinked, big defender of it. I even like the way it looks, unlike Todd Edwards. I like the animation for all of it. Now, it might be because I went into this movie with such a low bar. Mm-hmm. I didn't hate it as much as I thought I would. I don't think I hated it at all, to be honest.
Yeah.
As it has an 11%. It's Hoodwinked 2. I know it wasn't like exactly the same creative team, so I was like, this isn't going to be as good. This is going to be almost like a cash grabby kind of thing because the first one did so well. But it doesn't feel like that.
Right.
Like there does seem like there's genuine care for the characters and the world, and like passion for the story they're telling. And again, some added bits work. I think some comedy bits work. But having said that, there are a lot of comedy bits that don't work for me.
Yeah.
There's a lot of world building that also I don't think works for me, and it kind of breaks the world a little bit. Some of the character decisions I don't really like making like Patrick Warburton way dumber in this one kind of takes away from the first one.
Right.
And separating all the characters when we could finally have them all together, especially in retrospect where this could be the last Hoodwink movie unless me and you get our act together. It is in a way a heartbreaking movie as someone who really likes the first one. But does it deserve an 11%? Fuck no.
No.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, I think for me, I mentioned this a little bit throughout the episode, but the animation was better objectively in a lot of places. And I think their money was well spent there. I think the humans did scare me a little bit from like a production side. But I think overall, I think the scale is obviously larger than the first one, but that's where I think it loses its charm a little bit.
A little bit.
So you have like, and it happens a lot with like, directors who get bigger budgets because a small movie is super successful, is the scale of it kind of increases and inflates a little bit, but you don't have that charm of the characters of the first movie. And again, as you said so perfectly, I think that there are moments that work. There are scenes, especially in the beginning, and then there are multiple like comedy bits throughout, and there are some character moments. You have the singing goat, you have the Italian opera, like all of that are really great. But I think overall, there's just some things that don't work. That being said, I agree. I think that this movie, like overall, is pretty fun, even if I didn't like love it. But I wanted to also note that because this is our first episode of Summer of Sequels, I want to just get it out of the way that I fear that this exact kind of final thought going into it is going to come up a lot in this series.
Probably.
Because a lot of these movies are like very small scale to begin with, and then they get a sequel, and we're going to be covering those sequels. And I feel like, with the scale increasing, who knows if that heart is still going to be there, but we will find that out. Now, before we close out the show, let's go over to your ranking system.
Oh,
now,
right.
Did you forget about this?
I always
episode?
forget. My own ranking system, I always
Yes.
forget. Would you like to refamiliarize people with my ranking system for those
I'm
who
going
do
to
not know?
refamiliarize you with your own ranking system.
Maybe.
So Pelton came up with an idea for a ranking system for the movies. And basically there are 4 tiers. There are at the very top, he's going to buy it on 4K. Then he's going to buy it on like resale, right? Or on sale.
Either one.
Yeah. And then the 3rd tier is watch it on streaming. And the 4th tier is never watch it at all.
Correct.
Yeah. Or never watch it again.
Never watch, well, kind of both. Never watch it again. I think we've incorporated this rating system that I always remember in the most recent 2 episodes. So
Yeah.
this is our 3rd time doing it.
Yeah, even though the episodes are not going to come out sequentially,
Don't
but it's
worry
fine.
about it.
We'll just skip over like 8 episodes, but it's okay.
Filming schedule is all sorts of fucked up. Who cares? And the first 2 times I said it, I think both movies fell under the I would stream it category.
Yes.
I believe that's true.
I think.
Now with Hoodwinked, a little bit of a different story because I actually have nostalgia behind Hoodwinked. I really like Hoodwinked. And spoiler alert, I would totally buy the first Hoodwinked on 4K Steelbook.
Okay, I've come around. I would also buy it on 4K.
Let's go. They just got to put it out. Now that it's on Tubi and it's like the 20th anniversary, maybe they will.
Maybe they will.
They might get a 4K release soon, and that would be so sick.
Yeah.
So I would buy the first one. This is tough. Especially because we interviewed Todd Edwards, we have such a good connection to the Hoodwink movies. Part of me wants to say I would buy it on discount. It'd have to be a pretty hefty discount. But even then, if I was being really stingy with my money, I think I would just watch it on streaming.
I'm going to throw in my 2 cents. I agree.
There you go.
I would watch it on streaming. I was kind of on the fence as you were talking about it as well, but I think I would be so happy owning the original on 4K and nothing else. Like I think I'm comfortable with that.
Like if it sat in my movie shelf, I wouldn't be like super upset because we have such a cool connection to it.
Yeah.
But I would look at it and be like, I didn't have to buy that one.
Yeah.
I kind of wasted money there.
Yes, but one final thought on Hoodwink 2.
I can't believe this got greenlit.
Thank you all for listening. Thank you for listening to the first ever episode of I Can't Believe This Got Greenlit,
2.
the summer of sequels. Yes, we'll
Even I
figure it
fucked up
out
the
over the series. Stay tuned to I Can't Believe This Got Greenlit, the summer of sequels for more fun guests and crazy sequels. We don't exactly know the order that this is coming out, but I can tell you this. We have some wonderful guests coming up. We have some wonderful movies that we are revisiting and visiting for the first time. Their sequels, potentially 3rd movies. We'll talk to you next week for yet another summer sequel. Yeah.
Sure,
talk to you
that
next week
works.
for another
That
sequel.
works.
Bye.
See ya!
This has been a Quaywood audio production.